We're there. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to today's call aboard.
Call on the table.
Call
What's
the
it
table.
called now? You changed the name.
We did. It's
is it?
call aboard. What's on your table?
on your
So
table?
on the table is a segment that we always do every month where we invite someone like a content creator usually to talk about the last board games they played that month that stood out. Now we're changing it to follow our call aboard structure where you get to call in, and more importantly, we still are keeping the content creator aspect of it and bringing them on in as a special guest to help us with calls.
Perfect.
Isn't that cool? Right?
I love it.
So I'm gonna bring a guest I'm very excited about, super excited about, because he was part of the very first board game podcast I loved, Flip the Table.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna call him Moderator Chris. So I'm bringing up Moderator Chris in 3, 2, 1. Hey!
Hello! Hey, everybody!
Hi! Oh man, this is
Hi.
exciting.
I haven't done a live call-in show since my college radio days on WHSN in Bangor. We didn't really do live call-ins, but we took calls for requests and stuff. So it was a lot of like, play Limp Bizkit!
Oh,
And-
cool. Oh,
and
hang
that
on.
kind of thing.
Hang on.
So I'm excited. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, absolutely. We love doing this call-in show. We love hearing from the community, but more importantly, like I'm very happy. Yeah, exactly. It's Ryan Clements in the chat saying hi, Moderator Chris. I am just beyond excited for tonight's episode. So, what we normally do is we're just going to talk about what games we played, but also people can call in with whatever games they played, and they can just say hi to us too. That's
That's
always
right.
fun.
The number is, by number, we mean website?
Website
Is there?
call-aboard.com. Hey, Brian.
What's up?
Brian's in the chat.
Howdy, howdy.
Look at that. Brian's requesting some Limp Bizkit, I think. That's good.
Big algorithm might get mad at us if we actually try to play music, but
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on a small tangent and say I remember being so excited to go to high school, and I was like, I'm going to be the cool guy. So I was like, I'm going to go to Hot Topic and get a Limp Bizkit, chocolate, starfish, and the hot dog flavored water patch for my backpack.
did you
was
self-embroider it? Did you?
Did it work?
Did you?
I had my mom embroider it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next to a patch that said my mom embroidered this.
That's the perfect button to that story.
I don't know, man. You lost me when you said you were excited to go to high school. I wasn't.
Well, I was. It was a new frontier.
Yeah.
Everything's different.
That's very true.
I had like the Goofy movie as inspiration.
How many times did you see Limp Bizkit in concert?
Never.
No.
Never. Probably for a good reason, I guess.
I mean, I've heard him a lot on speakers pointed out the window
there you go.
20
See?
years ago, but
Well, anyways, welcome. So since you're a guest, you might as well just kick it off with what's on your table.
sure. I got a couple of games over here, and I'm happy to hear what folks out there. But I'll pick one from my big pile here. Since you're wearing your Ghostbusters shirt, let's go ahead and get this out of the way. This is one of my very favorite games. Period. Ghostbusters Blackout.
Yeah.
This is a fully cooperative game. And of course, I put it in upside down. You can kind of see on the back a little bit while he's pulling it up on BGG. But in this game, it's kind of like super light Elder Sign, where it's a dice placement game. You have these beautiful custom dice. They have the Ecto 1, they have the No Ghost logo, they have proton streams on there. And you also get not just the core Ghostbusters, like there's Egon there that you can see. But it's based on the IDW comics, so you also get Janine that you can play as. You can play as, let's see, Kylie Griffin, who was also in the Extreme Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So you get 8 characters in this game, and you always play with 4 of them, regardless of the player count. It's fully cooperative, and as you can see on the screen there, you're moving city to city in Manhattan to try to get rid of the ghosts on the screen. So I'm glad they picked Slimer, because I also picked Slimer here. I can give you a close
There
up.
you go.
Slimer requires 2 proton streams, a no ghost symbol, and a trap. And then if you can place all those dice then you can get rid of Slimer and move closer to victory along the track at the bottom there, the number of ghosts that you've captured. When you capture 15 ghosts, you win the game.
Right.
But at the end of the round, any ghosts that are left over will cause havoc and drive up that doom track in the upper left corner. And it is, in my opinion, one of my very favorite games anyway, but I think it's the game that does Ghostbusters the best out of all the Ghostbusters games out there. And there's been a whole bunch of them, short of maybe the role-playing game from West End.
That one is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, it does everything you want it to do. You have 4-player co-op, which in my opinion is pure Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
right
you need 4 players. Yeah,
you've got the progression of equipment. You can get all kinds of different equipment, like Raise a Cult Bookstore is equipment that you can get. You've got this mega trap, which is actually the extreme trap, which I really like. So you can improve and build your engine by getting more equipment. And most importantly, it's like fun and cheerful. Whereas when I play like an Elder Sign or an Arkham Horror or something, I just feel like I'm getting beat up the whole time. Like the game is just winning the whole time. And this one, I like how the difficulty is balanced, particularly with the different combinations of characters that you can pick. So it's breezy, it's fun, it doesn't take too long, and for my money, the best Ghostbusters game there is.
Have you played this?
I have played it.
Okay.
I have played it. So I've only played it once though, and I played it solo, and I thought it was fine solo. But I do want to go back to it at some point and play it. I think with like Ghostbuster kind of fans, because I think they're really gonna like the IDW aspect for sure. Because there is a lot of fan service there.
There is a lot of fan service, and I will say it's a little hinky in that you always have to play with 4 characters, right?
Yeah, right.
So, if you're playing with 2, each person controls 2, that's not so bad. If you have 3, you have this odd character that you're all kind of deciding by committee.
Yeah.
So, to that end, it is a game that is going to suffer quarterbacking in the wrong hands, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of cooperative games have that problem. I just don't play with those folks. So that solves that problem for me. But if that's a concern for you, this game is not going to assuage that concern. It is a game where one person with a strong personality can kind of push people around.
Sure.
Just play with people you're good at collaborating with, and I think you'll be fine.
This looks pretty cool.
We'll play fine.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
we should play that.
I have it. So,
awesome.
because I have to, right?
I've never heard of this game.
I have, let me change this screen for a second. There it is. Okay. So, yeah, because I'm a shill, I have every Ghostbusters board game. Almost every. The only one I don't have.
Like the weird ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You might like this. I'm gonna grab my prize weird one.
Okay.
It's all the way behind Agricola.
While Ryan's digging, I'll also share that Ryan sent me this beautiful Ghostbusters love letter, like a custom set.
Yep.
That's my favorite love letter. That I've got.
Ooh. I gotta
That's
fix
not
that.
a good.
We're making messes already. We're doing it live.
I'm gonna fix that later. Oh, there it is. There it is. Here it is. Take a look at this.
Oh, look at this.
I think I sent you a picture of it, right?
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a Japanese only release. I think it's the earliest Ghostbusters board game. Like it's from 1984,
Oh,
and
wow.
the translation
And it just
for
looks
Slimer is
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm pretty
Look at
pumped
this
to try
art!
it still. And it's unpunched.
Wow.
Still. This is like flip the table,
What?
right? Like ready.
Holy cow.
Here's the rules if you can make it out. Yeah.
Might as well be
Since
a
we
menu.
last talked, has somebody translated that? Is there an
So
English
there's
version somewhere?
I still gotta follow up. One of the guys in my Ghostbuster group, we're gonna try to recreate it. And then I have a friend in Ghostbusters Japan who's gonna help translate it.
Wow.
Yes.
So
Nice. I can't wait to hear how that goes. Because that looks out of control.
yeah,
So.
yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Let's see who's in the chat. So Maurice is in the chat. What's up? We got Mr. Rao Gaming in the chat.
Hello, Mr. Rao.
Hey, Mr. Rao. And we do have someone on deck who
Ooh.
who
I think I know who this person is.
well, you see him right there. All right, so
trying to-
oh, sorry.
Theater of the mind, kids.
I stole the thunder.
Paint the picture for our
Do you
audience.
want to introduce him? Okay, I'll introduce him. He should be here right now, but he's not. So let's
Yeah,
bring
but
him on in.
I have more elbow room because he's not here.
Yeah. So that's Mr. Chris Barrows in 3, 2, and 1. Hey.
Hello.
Hey guys. Yeah, I apologize. Normally I'm in studio, but I'm in our annex studio, one town over tonight. So here I am. But family things pushed schedule back. But
Do you
I
have a
made it,
fire
and
in
I'm
the corner?
excited. I gotta tell you, I'm excited because usually we bring Ryans onto the show. You brought a Chris onto the show this time.
That's true.
So now there's 2 Chris's instead
So-
of 2 Ryans.
Here's where this could get a little weird because I usually have gone by your moderator, Chris, since I was on Flip the Table years ago. Except this show has an existing moderator, Chris. And so even if you were to say moderator, Chris, I might get weird. I'm
Nah,
okay
that's
with
true.
being a moderator, Chris, if that helps us to
Oh,
differentiate.
No, Chris. If you're moderator, Chris, and I'm Chris, I think we're good.
Okay,
No.
we'll run
Yeah.
with that.
I think that's how it's gonna go.
3 out of
Um,
the 4 people who were on Flip the Table years ago were named Chris, and we had to kind of work through that in creative ways. So
Wait, not you said all 4 were Chris? That's
3 out
not
of 4. There was Jared,
Right.
Chris Barter, who was Professor Laborbrooks,
Professor
and
Laborbrooks.
Flip Flory, who
Yeah.
is Chris Flory. I did all the editing, so I got to keep my name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
When are you gonna have an Anthony on the show? Besides me.
Who, me?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? We have you.
Yeah, but there's been 2. You guys have all these other people with the
Oh,
same name as
we'll
you.
get there.
I mean, I think our audience can help us with that. If there's somebody out there named Anthony
Yeah,
who wants
there
to
we
be on
go.
the show, call dashaboard.com. You can
That's
do
true.
it.
That's very true.
I will note, just because I wasn't there at the start, how excited I am that on the table has become what's on your table as the topic for a monthly call aboard. I'm just so excited about this evolution.
Yeah.
For me, it's on the table's been fun because it's been a reason to bring other content creators in, so it's been exciting. But now to merge the two, this is definitely pretty exciting as far as I'm concerned. And I just saw that Girly Gamer dropping in.
Let me pop it in.
Appreciate. Always good to see you. Always good to see you.
Hey.
Which, by the way, if you follow Turtle, I just want to make sure because I know she's been talking about it. Make sure you follow her. I think that's the channel she wants everyone to follow her on now. So if you have followed her previous channels, go give that one a follow on YouTube because that's the one where I think she was bringing everyone back to and collaborating it all together.
Yeah, that's what I did because board game grand was
right. She had Board Game Grand and she had Girly Gamer, and she was combined them and putting everything under that one banner now.
Already subscribed.
Yeah,
there you go.
I mean, I'm always looking for a good YouTube follow. I mostly have old commercials and Aquabats episodes and things like that. So, this will diversify things a little bit for me.
Okay, who wants to take it away now? Chris, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, can we throw a game up on that I have been playing quite a bit, and I had 2 things on my mind, but I want to bring this one up because I know we'll talk about the other one later. So I want to bring up, I've been playing it on BGA. I'm going to buy a physical copy of this game, and we're going to play it, and that is Acropolis. It's a 2022
Acropolis,
game.
I think.
Acropolis.
Right?
Yes.
Potato, tomato. It's fine.
That's true. Potato, tomato. I was making sure. This is it.
Yes, that is it.
Yeah.
That is indeed it. So I wanted to bring this one up because this one has been taking a lot of my time on BGA lately. I'm looking forward to the physical play of it because I think it's a little wonky trying to put the tiles on top of each other as you will do in this game because you can make multiple layers and get to second and third levels, which will help with scoring more points in this game. But what just intrigued me about this game was just how easy it was to pick up. There's essentially 5 different type of tiles. They're all you're always going to have 3 spaces on every tile, but there's essentially 5 different types of spaces. Very easy to understand what those are, what they do, and how you score points with them. And it's an easy to teach, very kind of lightweight game. But I'm telling you, if you're a gamer, this can feel crunchy and you can really get into it. So it kind of checks off a few boxes for me. And it's overall simple to teach though. So you can get it to the table with pretty much everyone, it feels like, because anyone I've brought to on Board Game Arena, regardless of if they play a lot of games or they only play on occasion. Maybe they played Azul. Everyone's picked this up, so this has been my obsession lately. I don't even think I read the rules. I just looked at the little button at the bottom. It showed me how everything scores, and I started to teach myself.
That's exactly what Mr. Rao just said. He said, I've played this
There
so
you
many
go.
times and haven't read the rules.
It is a pretty solid interface too,
Automation.
because the game too is you're taking a tile made up of 3 hexagons.
Yeah,
right?
I've played it.
Oh, you did? You have?
Yeah. I like this game.
Oh, you played it in person?
Yes,
Oh,
I have.
Holy moly!
I
What's
know.
that like?
It's
How do you-
mind-blowing.
How do you work without? Did you have to learn the rules?
Yeah, it was insane.
Oh, jeez.
It was insane. I had to like read words that were strung together
Oh my
to
goodness!
make like big groups of words. It was nuts.
I think that's string theory.
Compound
Probably.
sentences, semicolons,
Yeah.
nightmare.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I
But
just
it is fun to grab tiles like this.
Yeah.
Tactile feel.
And they stack.
They
which
do.
is cool.
Yeah.
well, this Anthony, it's funny because I was thinking of, even though it's very different, I was thinking. I think you know where
I know
I'm
exactly
going.
what you're gonna say.
I was thinking of Llama Land as I
Right.
was playing this.
Mm.
And it's very different, don't get me wrong, but the whole stacking concept
Mhm.
and trying to figure out. So I really did enjoy this there. And like I said, I've been just having my eye out for a deal on this one because this one's got to get in. I think I showed it. My wife saw me playing it on BGA and said, "What's that?" And when there's tiles, she tends to be into those games. So
Yeah.
it immediately became something that was going to end up in my house. And so yeah, that's going to happen at some point. But yeah, this was the one that's on my mind, and I've been playing it quite a bit. Like I said, all BGA, but quite frankly, I mean, like Mr. Rao said, yeah, it's it's easy enough to teach and learn, and I want it in my house. So
Yeah.
I hope
it's very
people can
well
try
done.
this one out. If you haven't played this, I just highly recommend you go check it out, whether on BGA or physically if you have that opportunity, because it's great. And it is newer, and I had not heard of it until, I swear, 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay.
So I don't know how I missed this. Like, I'm holding myself accountable for missing this somehow, because this is a big winner for me.
Moderator Chris, have you played this one yet?
I have not. But looking at the tiles and that how you describe the tactile feel of it, it sounds very interesting. How would you say it compares to like a hive?
It's definitely a step up from, I think it's a step up because in this, the biggest thing is, as you're playing them down, those white spaces, just as an example, you're going to get essentially the stone to get more options for purchases as you cover them up. But you got to be mindful what you're covering up, because there's other spaces that you need to completely surround. And then I think it's the red spaces that need to be on the outside to score points, but they're going to score more points if they're higher. So you've got a lot to consider,
Yeah.
but it's simple enough that there's only 5 things to truly consider that you could just play it. If someone's really hyper competitive, I imagine no matter what their kind of play level is, they're going to pick up on this and find their way. The first game will probably be a pretty easy teach, and man, next game I think they'll be ready to kick your butt. I don't think it's hard. But
Sounds like
it's
the kind of game
definitely-
then that it's more of like you can jump into it and feel like you're accomplishing something, but if you play it a lot, you're going to get really skilled at it, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's. I also think, like I said, it's got enough crunch for a light game that you can dig into it and really like get going. But at the same time, it's light enough that you can play with anyone. So that's not always the case.
A group of like new gamers or non-gamers might not get the crunchiness of it, but they could easily play it, especially if they were all like on the same level. They wouldn't be none the wiser, right? They would still get it and figure it out and stumble through it themselves. Like, it totally teaches to a group of like teenagers, I think, like 12-year-olds, and they would probably get it. Would they like do optimal moves? Probably not, but they would figure it out pretty soon.
I mean, I do want to point out one thing though too, in regards to Hive. Hive is very it's very in your face, right? It's very high player interaction. In this game, you have your own tile set you're playing with. You don't have a shared board, so there's not a lot of places for blocking.
Right.
What there is there's a central market where you're drafting, and usually you're sticking with what's best for your board and not really hate drafting too much, because there's usually something out there that's going to be beneficial for you. But also, I'm pretty bad at the game, so I don't know if that's...
I mean, there's drafting, so it's already got an extra layer beyond hive, right?
The only
Yeah,
thing I'd ask you, Ryan, if you go to the images real quick for
Yeah.
me, but because I know we have someone in the wings. But before we do it, I want to make sure we go to the images, and if you scroll down, there's one in here that shows the rules. You'll see like a bunch of the
This one, the
yeah,
score sheet.
any of them. There's
Oh,
one
this
right
one.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So just so people can see, like this is right there to show you.
It's
So
in
really,
Polish,
it's
I
just
think, but
that's it.
Yeah.
There's 5 types of tiles. This is how you can score them. Boom. And
Yeah.
to me, that's the beauty of it. It is, a game which you could master it, but it's always going to play different because you're always going to be drafting, and you've got choices to make because you do need to cover up those stones every once in a while
Yeah.
to get enough so you have more options. Otherwise, you pretty much can only take the one choice once you have none of that because that's essentially your economy.
Right.
And
you get
then
more points when you stack up, but then you lose out on points that you're covering up.
yeah, it's neat. It is really neat. So yeah, highly recommend this. Check it out, Board Game Arena. I know it's obviously available on all your other favorite marketplaces where you could buy this, but try it out on BGA if you're on BGA because it's a pretty good interface. It can be a little finicky about rotating the piece maybe, but overall works pretty well, I think.
There's a lot of love for Acropolis in the chat too. Chewy Huey's saying he loves Acropolis. Played someone's copy at game night. Danielle's obsessed with Acropolis. Almost feel like this game is extremely similar to Calico with the tile, drafting, and placement hexes.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and then Mr. Outright saying it's less crunchy and restrictive version of Calico. And I saw that Ryan also brought up, Squirrel brought up that it was a huge hit at Origins in Gen Con last year. And I remember that. That's around the time after like Gen Con happened. I was like, all right, I should try this game out. So, all right, we got someone on the wings. All right, first guest. All right, let's bring him on in. We're gonna bring you on in 3, 2, and 1. Hello. Hey, what's up, man?
What's happening?
How you doing?
Another day in paradise, man. How y'all holding up?
Yeah.
What a good time. This is fun.
Yeah, I think so. So, for go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks at home.
Yeah, definitely. My name is Maurice Andrews Jr. Y'all might have seen me in there interacting with some of the others.
I've seen you interact plenty of times.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I typically do content around Marvel Champions or just board game reviews on games that I normally don't play that I enjoy quite a bit. If you watch Our Family Plays Games, I've been a part of a few of the OFPG voices. And the game that I have to introduce today is actually the game I introduced last on OFPG Voices, which is Astro Knights.
Oh, I gotta play.
I will continue campaigning for this game because I think it has taken one of the best deck building systems and have just made it easier to consume. If y'all have never played Aeon's End, I mean, it takes some of your typical deck building mechanics where you start off with a small deck and then you have a market that you buy. You go up against a big bad, and of course they have their own sometimes rules bending mechanics to them just to kind of keep the game fresh. But I will always promote Aeon's End, but I think Astro's Knights is a really good entry to that system. It takes that system and just streamlines it a little bit to where it's not as complicated. Have any of y'all played Aeon's End?
Not
I
yet.
have not, but you had me at deck building. That got my attention immediately.
So,
I love deck building games.
Yeah, so deck building for me was like the first mechanic that drew me into, I guess what you would call this side of board gaming, because to graduate from Life and Monopoly and all that good stuff. The first deck builder that I was introduced to was the Harry Potter Battle for Hogwarts.
Oh yeah,
and that was the first game I actually played solo religiously, and I could not find deck builders after that. They were mostly like the competitive ones. So Star Realms, Hero Realms, Dominion. So that was normally what you found during that time. And slowly you've been seeing a little bit more deck builders come out. And the first time I played Aeon's End, I was obsessed with it. I still have a little trouble with the breaches. So if any of y'all have ever, when you play it, you'll understand what I'm talking about, where you have more decisions to make, where instead of just spending your money on trying to get these new spells and relics to be able to help you kind of build your engine, you also have to spend they call it ether in the game, which is the currency, to open up these breaches, and those breaches turn into slots for you to be able to play spells to deal damage to the enemy. And so it's a little tough to kind of get accustomed to that. But with what Astro Knights have done to relieve that, I guess that part of the game, which makes it a little hard to teach, they just turn it into slots. So you have weapons that you can buy, and the number of slots that you have are the number of weapons you can play that turn. So it makes it a little bit easier. The art is phenomenal for it.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Both on the player aids and the cards and the players. The villains that's in the game, they have these little boxes that they come in, so everything that you need is right there. You can adjust the difficulty of the game with these little cards that you add onto the villains. So the difficulty of the game is probably easier than the Ghostbuster game.
Okay.
Let me rephrase that. It's harder than the Ghostbuster game, but easier than Robinson Crusoe.
Oh, okay.
So it's
a good way.
Yeah.
So it's challenging enough to where probably the
Lots of
majority of the
things.
games is coming down to the last few turns. And one other thing that they did with this game, because in Aeon's End you have 2 win conditions. You either defeat the enemy or you outlast the deck for it with no minions and what they call power cards out there. This one, you're on the timer. You only got 3 run-throughs of their deck to beat them. So it kind of ups the tempo on the game as well, too, where you don't have all day to sit here and build all of these cards. Like, you got to come up with your engine pretty quickly and go to town. So I really like this game. I will always promote the Aeon's End system because I think it is the best deck building system that's out right now. It is. And there's a ton of content. If anybody's interested in the Aeon's End content, I would actually advise either starting with Astro Knights or Aeon's End New Age.
Okay, so there's room for both in your collection then, right?
Oh, yeah, I got it all, brother.
All right, cool. Because you're not the first person I heard that praises Astro Knights to the point like, oh yeah, it takes Aeon's End and makes it so much better. Meanwhile, for like the past couple months, I've been like accruing all these Aeon Ends like expansions on Game Nerds, ready to just dive in. I even got an insert for this game. I still haven't played it yet. And then everyone's like, oh yeah, forget that. Astro Knights is where it's at. And I'm like,
Hey, you know all that
wouldn't do
money
that.
you spent? It sucks.
I know.
Man.
I won't say that because I do think there is something to Aeon's End in terms of the way that they have the market, right? So the market in Aeon's End is a little bit different than Astro Knights. So what Astro Knights does is take 6 different kinds of cards and put them in a deck. So the only access to the market that you have are the cards that's in that market. So yeah, it's on the kind of bottom right of that picture under the turn order.
Yeah.
So those are the 6 cards that you have access to. And there are certain cards that allows you to destroy the top card to get through that deck faster so that you can kind of find what you're looking for. And it'll take some experience to kind of know what you're looking for and what cards to aim for with the different characters because they're all asymmetrical in a way with their powers. But I think with Aeon's End right now just have the content to be able to compete with the system of Astro Knights, right? Because what you get in the box is what you get compared to, like you said, like there's so much content with Aeon's End where it's like you can just get lost in the amount of content that's there. It has 2 legacy games to it. So it's, you got so much to be able to fall back on with Aeon's End. I hope that they continue to give Astro Knights that support. And that's why I'm here today to continue promoting this game so that I can keep seeing Astro Knights content because I love this system, man.
And it's a co-op game too, right?
It's beautiful.
I gotta say, you've sold me on this because I like the look and feel of it. I've heard about it. Must have been Mr. Rao who talked about it. I love the look and feel of it. The way you describe from a setup perspective, and as Brian's mentioning here, I love how you never shuffle deck in these games. I
forgot about that. Yeah,
that's a little different. So I like whenever they kind of change it up a little bit in that kind of way. So this is one I need to definitely try. And then I'll let Ryan obviously go all in on the other stuff. And
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. That seems like a really solid plan. And then,
It is a game I do plan on playing this year because it was on Danielle. It was on her top 20, and I'm trying to play everyone's top 20 game at least once until the next time. I
respect that. All right, hey, this one is creeping up there for me, man. It's creeping up there pretty fast.
It's not top 20 yet?
No, but it's almost there, man.
I
think it will be by the end of the year for me. Just because I still got a couple of games. I got the City of Kings rolling around here somewhere. I still got to play that one. So
I know you do Marvel Champions. You mentioned before. Where's Marvel Champions fall on your list? Because
number one, it's not even close.
I thought
so. There's no game that comes close to that for me right now. That one just. I played Arkham Horror first, and I like the story aspect of it. But similar to, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. The gentleman with the blue shirt.
Hi, I'm Chris.
Chris. So, Chris, nice to meet you, Chris. As you say, like that game drop kicks you in the chest and don't care about your feelings. So it's I like the storytelling. I like the mechanics of it. But man, I do not feel comfortable playing anything other than Guardian. Like if I don't have a shotgun in hand, I don't feel safe in that game.
Yeah.
So I just do what I can. So shout out to my boy Roland Banks. But with Marvel Champions, that one, I think that they did a phenomenal job with making as many of those different Marvel heroes as thematic as possible. You really feel like you're playing as those heroes when you play the game. I think it took the best of Lord of the Rings and Arkham Horror and just made it a much more digestible system that's easy to pick up. They got a lot of the more popular heroes so that you can just hop in. If your favorite hero don't come with the box, you can just go buy them and play as them. Like there's just so much to it, man. I'll stop because I'll take up the rest of your segment.
No, I'm with you because Ryan and I have a lot of catching up to do with some of the characters. But I will say, I always go through when the new characters come out, and I love the evolution from adding the tag team, from teaming up, and then I even with the way they did Gambit as an example, like they did him in such. I did have to look up the one card. How is this effective to use? Which, because the way, but it all relates back to his powers, and it's really cool about the way that they've evolved that game. So yeah, I'm with you, but I had to ask because I know you love your Marvel Champions. So if I didn't bring it up, I feel like it would be,
it's a waste. Yeah,
criminal.
I respect it, man. I appreciate you.
You got to collect some commission now. I think Astronauts 36 on Miniature Market.
Hey, man, the commission will come back to me in more content. So
there you go.
When more people buy it, that's all I care about, man. I don't need the royalties. I need content. Right, exactly.
You might have moved Marvel Champions up on my list. It's on my to-play shelf. It looks like a great game, but this ringing endorsement may motivate me to finally get it off that shelf.
Man, Chris, I'll send you the core box if that's what it takes, man. That's how serious I am about it.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for calling.
Oh, absolutely.
Stick around the chat. We have some more callers, but it was awesome having you call in. I was very excited for you to finally call. This is your first time calling in on the call board, right? It is, right? Yeah.
A genuine first-time caller, long-time listener.
First time.
We did it.
Yeah. The honor. I appreciate it, fellas.
All right, man. I'll take it easy.
Bye, Maurice.
Indeed.
All right, cool.
Already an epic night.
Right?
Yeah.
First time caller. We got moderator Chris here.
And they're piling up. They're in the queue. We got more.
That's true. All right, we're bringing them on. No stranger to the show. Bum, 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 bum.
Who is it?
Regular caller.
I can't see.
There he is. It's regular caller. Regular caller in 3, in 2, in 1. Hey, Squirrel.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I heard Chris say that you usually bring on Ryans, and so I thought that was my cue, and I just jumped right in.
Well, introduce yourself then.
Sure. I am Ryan Clemens. They call me Squirrel. But
you call yourself Squirrel. You told me.
Well, not only am I Squirrel here, but I'm Squirrel like everywhere. Like Board Game Geek. I'm there on BGA. I'm there in like a bunch of different things.
It's on his taxes, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
Can I just pay some respect to the CRT TV in your shot?
Oh,
that is a bold and wonderful choice, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I play some retro video games every so often.
That's the right way to do it. You got to play it on a tube. I cannot beat Punch Out on an HD screen. It has to be on a static CRT.
I got that right there.
There you go.
But gentlemen, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. And
Good,
so
good.
yeah, and you were asking on our Discord too about the topic. So right.
Oh, yes.
On the table is now what's on your table.
Oh.
So it's
Well-
a live call-in on the table or anyone.
Currently, what's on my table, thanks to Maurice, he said he loves Aeon's In, and I'm like, yeah, it's just such a good game. It really is.
It's a lot of Aeons, huh?
That's a lot of Aeon's End.
It's not even. I think it's about half because then there's also Aeon's In Legacy. There's also Aeon's In Outskirts. I think it's called or Outreach. One of those. There's quite a few.
Guy at Dr. Aeon's End.
Indeed, but now
Aeon's End
he's
free.
he's got me Aeon's End. What is it? Revive, Aeon's End, Rise. All of those the movies have been doing. But I'm very interested in Astronites, and again, congrats to Maurice for bringing it.
New
Thank
favorite
you.
person.
Oh, thank you. I'm humbled. But yeah, thanks for the suggestion for Astronites. I actually knew about it, but I didn't think about it for quite some time. But you brought it up again, and now I have to jump in there because it sounds a bit. It might be better. I do not know. But yeah, I will still have this in my collection. And yes, I understand I'm not a solo player, but I understand it's probably the best solo deck builder game in the world right now.
I don't know.
In the world.
I don't know.
Big
I don't know.
Is Mage Knight a deck builder? I don't know.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
It is. All right. So I will tell you about the game that I chose. Originally, I chose two, but I do know that one of them has been received by a bunch of people that listen to this show. And so I will not necessarily talk about that one. I'll leave that for somebody else to talk about. That's Darwin's Journey. Just note that from this point, if anybody talks about it, anything good they say, I agree with. Anything negative they say, I disagree with.
You gave a thumbs up for disagree.
I did. That was the wrong way.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
That game is on the shelf behind me. I know I was looking at the things I didn't get from at Ryan's house as well. So it's gonna get to the table soon, but it arrived. Mine arrived a week and a half after yours.
Yeah.
And then I think yours probably came.
Mine was the same day as yours.
Ours came. I don't know why you got the express delivery, but
It's all
there
that I
it is.
praise.
I don't know. It's probably because I was I think one of the first 200 backers or something like that. I don't know. I really
That
don't.
could be.
Could be.
But yeah, when you play it, I am coming over. I am going to try to.
Cool.
Okay. So this past weekend was my birthday. It was on Friday, April 21st.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, dude.
Thank you.
You.
And so what I wanted to do for my birthday was I wanted to have a board game meetup on Sunday, this past Sunday, the 23rd. And we had that. And there was one specific game that I really wanted to play because I can't really usually get a group together of 6 or more people. And this is a game that was the only game on my shelf of yet to play that required at least 5 people to be good. And this is Shadows over Camelot.
So good.
This is one of the earliest hidden traitor games, aside from Werewolf and Betrayal at House on the Hill is not necessarily a hidden traitor; it just happens. But yeah, this is one of the first ones before Battlestar Galactica.
This one kicked it off, right? This is the
Yeah.
very first one that was like this.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Yeah, it's 2005, so yeah, it's 3 years before Battlestar Galactica. It is. I feel like Battlestar Galactica got a lot of its ideas possibly from this game because it's very, very similar. This is a lot more streamlined. This, after the teach, it took us an hour and a half to play with 6 people. So it's rather quick. So if you get a chance to play this, play Espen. I think you have played this.
I have.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy it. Sorry to be the Debbie Downer in the.
Well, I'll
group
jump in
today.
front of that.
But go ahead, jump in front.
And I will absorb that negativity because this is the game that got me into the board gaming hobby proper. I was a role-playing games guy for a long time, and then I played this one with my wife-to-be and my now cousin-in-law, and it gave me that collaborative experience that I wasn't getting in board games up until that point. And I completely fell in love with it. And it is still, in my mind, a top tier game to this day. This game is an important one to me personally. So I'm so glad that you get to play it.
Yes.
And if you own this game, let's just be clear. If you own this game, you own an out of print game right now. So if you own this game, I saw someone in the chat saying that they were lucky to grab a copy.
That's Dan. Yeah.
So Dan is lucky. I know I'm lucky enough. I feel like doing that copy. I don't get to play it all the time, but it's true. This game was the first time I had not played Battlestar Galactica yet at the time, but I remember just enjoying my experience with this game. Now, if I can't put it head to head with BSG, but I can recognize, much like I do with other games, just the importance of this one. I love Battlestar Galactica. That's in my top 20. This isn't, but
it's in my top 1. So top 1 with player count 3 or more.
Okay.
So I mean, I love both games quite a bit. If I need to wake up in the morning, I'll play Shadows. If I don't have any plans, I'll play Battlestar.
Yeah. That's the way to go right there.
But you make a good point. It is quick. Like Battlestar Galactica is gonna be a 3-hour game, generally speaking.
Yeah.
You know, you can get this out on the table. People know how to play under 2 hours, so there is a nice advantage with this one. I think.
With a high player count too, which is unusual for a game of this weight and of this level of strategy.
But it's really approachable too, right? Because it's grandiose. There's a ton of like boards and stuff out on the table, and it can look intimidating at first. But when it comes down to it, what you're doing is playing like poker hands essentially, and
pretty much
that's if you know how to do that stuff, and you get the point that there's 1 through 5, that you can kind of jump on everything else as like a little explanation. Oh, what does this spot do? Oh, you have to do that there. Okay, this one's kind of like that, but it's different on this side. Oh, okay. Like there's the little steps are pretty easy to digest. I love this game too. It's one of my favorites, and I'm lucky enough to own it also.
So yeah, the other 5 people at the table, including add myself, so 6 people of us have not played this game. So like we were all first-time players of this game. I did all the research I could because if I want to play this game, I'm going to have to teach it. And the teach took about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and literally it was like, you're going to the Grail and you're placing down Grail cards as your action. You're going to this to fight the Turks, and so you're placing cards 1 through 5. You're going against Lancelot, and so you have to play like a full house. But it's a 1 card at a time, and before at the beginning of your turn, you have to do one kind of act for progressing evil, is what it's called. Either flip over one of those cards, which usually does some bad things. You can add just siege catapult in front of Camelot, or you can lose 1 of your life. So like if you keep on flipping cards at the beginning, which is not a good strategy, you're probably the traitor. Everyone's already accusing and pointing fingers. Siege catapults as soon as 12 hits that table. That is the end of the game, and the traitors win. You can lose life, and so you can there is actually player elimination in this game. You can actually lose and by death and get out of the game unless someone has
the outcome of your game.
In fact, that's pretty cool too, because Espen and Barrows, you remember when we were playing Battlestar Galactica, Mike Sig, a good friend of ours, he was sitting on this side of the table, and him and Espen were both the traitors.
Well,
or the Cylons in Battlestar Galactica.
In Battlestar, yeah.
So in this game, Sig sat in the same exact spot, and he was the traitor.
Yeah.
I have also sat at a table with Sig and played Battlestar Galactica. I don't remember if he was the traitor or not.
He probably was. Yeah, he told me he's going to call in, and he's not. So clearly he's a traitor in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
48:57, I said that.
For the record, too, this was one of the reasons I was bummed I wasn't able to make this, because I did actually want to play this. But I will always remember that Battlestar Galactica game, because and that's the game that I end up thinking about when I think about this, because it's born, I think, partially because something like this exists in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
And Battlestar Galactica is an incredible game for me, and I have so many great memories of it. Sometimes pissing people off when I throw them in the brig, but that's another story for another day.
You did.
I did.
And Gabe is right. Isn't there's a second edition, right? Shadows over Brooklyn.
I know nothing about.
Wait,
this.
is that a thing? What?
I
what?
Thought it was.
I'm just learning
I
about
really
this
think
too.
it is.
Cool.
I I feel like it was, or there was like something in the works.
I think you might be
Yeah,
pulling
I'm
your
looking
leg.
at
No. I really think there was. It's like a mobster one. I'm pretty certain on.
I
this.
just know I could never
Let me
get a
see.
hold of Merlin's company or whatever the expansion was, much like him.
Go back. Actually,
go
no,
back.
it was right there. Go back and hit a re-implemented by.
No, that's the card.
Oh, that's the
Oh
card
yeah,
game.
yeah,
Okay.
that's something different.
yeah. No,
Oh,
I'm
man.
almost certain. Let me check the forums. I'm almost certain I heard.
That
about
might have been
this.
just a good yes and we've gone down a rabbit hole.
I was about to say maybe he's a trader and he's throwing off soft dissent.
No,
Is
no,
that
no.
literally an article that says comparing Camelot to
Shadows over
Camelot
Boralot.
Candyland
I
Deluxe?
saw
That's a
that.
shame.
What the heck does?
I could have swore there was like a mafia style Shadows over Camelot in the works.
I don't know. I
could have
know.
swore I heard something about that.
Yeah, now we're grasping at straws here. To try
I don't
to
know.
get
Well,
an
Gabe's in the
answer.
chat. He could clarify. if he
Yes, you could.
finds it.
He could probably just call in.
Yeah,
Sure. Well, Darren, you to call in.
But
Shadows over
no,
Camelot
this-
Cook creator. Oh crap!
Okay.
Dicebreaker has a story, but it's from 2020.
Okay.
Cook creator teases possible spiritual sequel
Shadows
to the
over
original
Brooklyn.
Shadows over Camelot
Yeah.
that would relocate
Okay.
the co-op to Brooklyn.
Okay.
Wow.
spiritual teasers can work though. Like I said,
Well-
with Battlestar Galactica, the
But
spiritual
the
teaser
co-designer,
really
he
did
passed
nothing
away
for me.
this past year,
So.
right? Yeah. He passed away this past year. Because he also did Nidavellir.
That's right.
Stories
Oh.
Legend. Yeah. Which I still haven't played some of his other ones. Like I haven't done Ad Astra yet.
Mystery of the Abbey, another hidden trader game.
Mystery. of the
I
Abbey,
had,
yeah.
you know, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I had not done the math that until I heard the unfortunate news of his passing that that the designer of Nidavellir was actually the designer of Shadows over Camelot, and
Yeah.
I immediately had an even higher level of respect for Nidavellir, which I had only played online at that point. So
Yeah.
Well, we will not know for a while whether Shadows over Brooklyn will be a thing or not, which is sad because
It'll be a day one
I would be.
kickstart for me if it ever comes out.
Yeah, it would be the same for me too. But yeah, I'm just glad that I had a copy of Shadows over Camelot. The Loyalists won.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a great game, I think. And I think next time we'll play with the Merlin's Company expansion.
I
That
was
I
gonna say, you
have.
probably have the expansion, don't you?
I do have the expansion
Yeah.
and the pre-painted minis and all that fun stuff.
does he do
So
that?
how do I do
You
that?
get
It's
those
just
wonderful toys.
what I do.
Yeah.
I
So,
drink and I own
okay.
cool
As
things.
Dan's saying, he just needs the expansion. Probably not happening, but you can play with Squirrel.
Yeah,
There you go.
come on over.
There you go. And
Well-
the base game is darn fine all by
We'll play some
itself.
Tetris in the meantime.
yeah, to be
Yeah.
fair, I'm kind of with you, Chris. The base game in itself is just solid. Like even with Battlestar Galactica, I want the last two expansions I don't have, but if I don't get them, in reality, I'm not crying over it because, quite frankly, I'm not in
Yeah.
a rush to play with them. I just want them from a completionist perspective.
Yeah.
The base game itself is perfect. I wouldn't mind the extra characters. I guess is
I'm more of a Basin Pegasus at minimum.
yeah.
I really.
But I got that's what I
Yeah.
got. I have base in Pegasus, so
Okay.
So then you're in great shape.
I'm
The rest
pretty
of the
much
stuff is
set.
great to have, but
yeah.
I had all of the expansions, but I decided that the base game is all I needed, and so I did sell the other expansions. I'm sorry I didn't realize that you were looking for it too. But
No, you know what? You might have saved me because I don't really need them to the point that I have realized over time. So
Yeah.
I kind of needed. Well, I got what I need. So
Rachel's bringing up, by the way, about Shadows over Brooklyn. She'd read that there may be a problem Days of Wonder owning the rights and aren't keen.
that's fair.
Could be.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for having me on. It's always
Thank
great to
you.
be here.
Thanks.
And
Pleasure to
it
meet
was
you.
nice to meet you, moderator Chris.
All right, Squirrel. We'll see you later.
All right, take care.
have a good one, Squirrel.
Cool.
I was really
All
distracted
right.
for the last 20 minutes, and I'm not sure why.
What happened?
I was really distracted for the last 20 minutes. I'm not exactly sure why.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, Gabe has a payphone. Payphones are cool. I think you could figure it. I don't know if you could do call-aboard.com.
Yeah, I don't know how that works on it. Well, if
You
anyone
just call my
has-
number, and then I'll put it right here.
There you go.
if anyone is interested in telling something that they've been playing recently, I mean, we obviously would love for you to call in. I always give the friendly reminder that with call-aboard.com, you don't have to put your face on screen if you really don't want to, but we would love to see your beautiful faces, and we appreciate the call-ins. We have a lot of fun with this, and getting to hear what you've been playing also interests us to new games. Like here we are talking about Shadows over Brooklyn. We would have never,
No, this is the first I heard of it today. I mean, it may never exist, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
Could be.
The fact that
one day.
It's a nice little tidbit of information to have. That's it.
Yeah. And I always say, I always laugh because games get sold in the chat. For all I know, Brian Chandler has already gone and bought a copy of
Astronauts
on Miniature
sure.
Market. Because
I'm likely going to do it later. We'll see. Who hasn't said a game yet? You haven't said a game.
Me.
Go ahead.
Cool. So I'm looking at my phone because I had my wife take pictures of my game book that I forgot to bring. I write all my games down in a book, like some kind of crazy person.
What?
But it's awesome for this occasion because I can look back at what I played because my memory is awful. Anyway, a couple weeks, no, I guess last week, I went down to my buddy Eric's house. He lives in Pennsylvania near Philly, kind of. And I surprised him. He didn't know I was coming. I coordinated with his wife, so she knew that I was coming. And she got her parents to watch their kids for a good chunk of the day. So it showed up at his door, ready to play games, and it was awesome. I'm not going to tell you all the games that we played, but we did get to play a game that he raved about from last year called Keep the Heroes Out.
Pull that up.
Which is a cool co-op dungeon crawl thing where you're playing as the monsters, the inhabitants of the dungeon, as opposed to, the party going into the dungeon to get all the treasure. You're trying to protect the treasure. That's the whole concept here. The other cool thing is there are variable player power, so it's asymmetric, but it's cooperative. Teaching asymmetric games is really hard because you're basically teaching people how to beat you at something. Like teaching Root is awful. Playing this game, it doesn't matter, right? Because you can ask all the questions you want. Everything is out on the table, and it's just a really cool thing. The characters that you play are pretty cool. They all have their own deck.
Kind of looks like Root too.
I think one of the artists might be the same because the figurine, that's who I played as actually.
Okay.
I was the Ratkin, and so my thing was that I could just come out and spawn wherever I had other rats. So it was a lot easier to do that. Whereas normally you have to look at a symbol and only come out to a certain, tile of the dungeon. And then there's these slimes that if they take a hit, they split up and become two slimes, which is super thematic.
Yeah.
And it was great. And Eric was excited because, he's only played it 2 players with him and his wife. And so because of that, he hasn't always explored all the characters to play because there's a dragon, big red dragon.
Yeah.
And then he has a Cthulhu expansion also.
Of course,
so the dragon and Cthulhu are just, there's only one, piece, only one player token, but they're much more powerful. They have a crazier range attack. And, they have a lot more life points and stuff like that. Whereas me, the Ratkin, I was dying left and right, but on the next turn, I'm just, bouncing around and popping more rat people up. This was a lot of fun. I could see why it was one of his favorites. I don't know how many scenarios or builds there are in the rule book, but it looked like there was a good amount of replayability between that and obviously playing as the different, types of monsters and stuff. And you guys played this one?
Like there's a solo mode too, because I was.
I would be surprised if there was not. I don't.
Yeah,
know
it looked
that
like
answer,
some
though.
photos said solo scenarios. So.
Yeah, 1 through 4, best with 2.
Oh, Chewy Huey says 20 scenarios. Yeah, that's great. 20 different dungeon builds in there.
Gabe saying he wanted to try it. He loves Luis Rui, especially because he's Brazilian. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Cool. Cthulhu
Yeah,
expansion.
Cthulhu.
It's
And there's also a main enemy that's different as well in each setup. So the one we played was called The Legend of the Rent, which I'm not sure if it was a nod to School of Rock or not, but that's where my mind went.
Okay.
But every once in a while a card would come out that was the Troll, and basically you had to have enough money to satisfy him and pay his rent because he's the owner of the dungeon. Otherwise he would get mad and you'd lose points or something like that. But that's just every build has a different character in the deck also.
People love taking intricate photos of these.
The components are really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's ghosts. The ghosts can go through walls. They don't have to use the doorways. I forget who else. There's kobolds. I forget what they do. Witches, yeah. I think the witches, there were only maybe 2 or 3 of them. The slimes had a bunch. Skeletons. I forget what they do.
I don't know.
Is that
cool,
a duck?
It looks like a duck.
Oh no, those are the This might be the lizard folk, maybe.
Okay.
But they do look a little duckish. You know, the dragon looks a little swanish, actually.
I thought I was looking at root meeples or something there for a second.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
think it might be the same artist.
100%. Whether they were ducks or not, I would just call them ducks.
Little ducks. That lizard is a duck.
And that skeleton looks like the skeleton from that one like 2D video game that I cannot remember for the life of me. But
Oh, when you're like walking through the graveyard and stuff, and
yeah, it's a great little game. But yeah, I love the look of
Beholder.
this game though. It looks.
Oh yeah.
It has a very like the appeal of this. If you're walking by this while people are playing it, would have me asking, "What is that?"
Yeah.
It just looks great.
the artwork has a similar, like the artwork of like the dungeons. It does really have a similar vibe to the core quest, where the kids were involved in all that artwork. But that's a good thing. Like that with these little tokens is really, really cool combo. I had a lot of fun with this. It definitely would be on my radar if it was at the right price.
Why, is it expensive?
I don't know. I was just saying.
It might be. Is it like one of those like Kickstarters that has a lot of things? I know nothing about this game. Oh, like eBay saying $189.
Ugh.
Yeah. $100.
No, thank
like
you.
new. Well, I guess
Purple.
I guess,
Oh, that's not a character. That's just someone's.
Oh, that's
gamer
Purple Moose.
tag.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh,
was like,
he's good.
I don't
Yeah.
remember seeing the moose in the game.
No, he's super nice. That
Cool.
guy.
Get him on.
Has Chris, moderator Chris, have you played this game at all?
I have not.
No.
The art grabs my attention immediately.
Yeah.
Because art really can take a game that's maybe a little bit more complex and draw you into it enough that you want to pay attention, that you want to understand it, and where you're describing that you have these variable player powers. I would want to sit and learn that, and I would be okay with that extra complexity.
Yeah.
Because I want to see, well, what do the skeletons do, and I'm curious about like how being a skeleton gives you an advantage in the dungeon. So
Yeah.
so it looks really cool. I think it's the kind of thing that like my youngest daughter, who's 3, would want to play around with. Like she's starting to sift through our board games and like play with the pieces now.
Awesome.
She would absolutely want to dig through this one.
That I had that. It was so funny. Before tonight, my wife was working an event, so I was waiting for her to present some awards to people. And so my daughter, before I'm taking her upstairs, goes to me, "Daddy, I want to play a game." I'm like, "Okay, sure. What do you want to play?" Now, I was pleasantly surprised that she took Boop off the shelf, and we played like 3 games of Boop. So she won the last game. So she was a really good, that last game. Something clicked because she was
Nice.
trapping me in corners. I'm telling you, but I love that moment. And when you have pieces like that, though, and that's kind of what I was thinking here, when you have pieces like that are just fun to move around, it is such a great feeling because the kids really can pick them up, and you start to get that idea of pick up, place down, which sounds basic, but I mean, for those parents who are thinking about it and like, "Oh, I want my kids to play games one day," well, that's how it starts. They just want to pick up things and put them down, or roll dice, or just let them play with the pieces. That's all it is.
Eddie's egging me on. Come to game night tomorrow. I'll bring it.
I know.
I was just saying, I actually might tomorrow. I might. We'll see. All right. I'm taking it away.
Go ahead.
I'm taking it away. I haven't said a game yet. Sort of. I haven't talked about games. Whatever.
Well,
whatever.
I haven't
Look.
spotlighted a game yet.
All right. Here's what I'm talking about. I did my top 20 not so long ago, and had I played this game prior, this had potential to be in the top 20 just on my first couple plays alone. Mm-hmm. It's a classic that I recently got the updated Kickstarter for, and that is Ra.
That is old school.
Ra is so old school. Actually, first time I played Ra was with Gil Hova, designer of the networks, and we didn't finish it. We just played like the first what is it, epoch, whatever the era, whatever it's called, the first round, right? There's 3 rounds. We played the first round, epoch, and I liked it. I didn't get the big hype though, and then, but I saw the gorgeous edition that was coming out. I've been wanting to get back into trying it. Let me see. Oh, this is like, what the heck? that guy is like a bottle of champagne with his raw. This is the older edition.
Oh, BGG.
Yeah, this is the older edition right here. I'm trying to find a picture of the newer edition. I mean, there's the box art right there. If I go to recent, yeah,
Well,
recent.
the new
Here we
edition
go.
is tool art, right?
Yeah, the newer edition has ENO tool art. It's crazy blinged out.
Wow.
Like very like chunky wooden tiles for everything. All the cardboard tiles are now wooden with screen printed graphics on it. This game is so good. I thought like because I played a lot of Knizia games, Reiner Knizia games before. I've played Tigris and Euphrates. I've played Quest for El Dorado, and like Lost Cities. And I like these games, but none of them really like sung to me. Ra screams to me. Like this game has it all. What I want: cutthroat auction where you're just bidding, and as soon as you bid, you're gonna take all the tiles that are out there available. But what's great is what everyone's money is because those bidding tiles that you're putting out, you're limited to what you can actually put out. And when you do put it out, you're out for the round. You have one less bidding tile for the rest of the round. And the round is going to be over when either all bidding tiles have been used or once enough raw tiles come out that the round ends and it just immediately ends. Man, this game is great. I adore this one. It gets all the praise it deserves. That's Ra. Have you guys played Ra? Moderator Chris, you played Ra?
Not played Ra. The Knizia that really speaks to me is Kingdoms.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one. I think there's a Knizia for everybody, and I think that one's mine.
I think I have a reprint of Kingdoms.
They made like a Beowulf version too.
That's what I have. I have Beowulf the movie, the game.
which is hilarious that's how it got reprinted.
Yeah.
But the way that I discovered it was through back when Xbox 360 was a thing and the indie arcade games had just come out. Somebody made a game called like Medieval stuff. Stifling a sneeze there. It was essentially a knockoff version of Kingdoms.
Okay.
And I wasn't aware, but I played it like 7,000 times against the computer because I loved it. And then I went to the local board game meetup and somebody brought this game and I'm like, oh, this is that game on Xbox. They're like, what are you talking about? Oh, I've been playing a ripoff for 8 weeks. But Kingdoms is one of my very favorites.
Yeah, I still have I have the Beowulf one. I haven't played it yet. I have it though. Because I was so excited because I wanted to get the Beowulf Knizia game. Cause I've heard mixed. I've heard a bunch of things, and it sounded interesting enough. So I went like, yeah, this is the Beowulf game by Reiner Knizia. It turns out there's 2 Beowulf games by Reiner Knizia: Beowulf the board game and Beowulf the movie board game. I got the movie one, which I haven't played Kingdoms. So yeah.
Raw came out though 1999, same time as I think the first one of the Lost Cities, at least. The surprising game I will say from him actually that I love, and it's not the best game made. It's right there, 1992. Loot, simple little card game that gets to the table all the time in my house. It's just
I've never played this one.
Simple little card game of you're trying to. You'll do some battling over the goods that are out, but you got to pick your battles and make sure you get the most loot, and it's delightful.
Those pretty cards.
You love your pirates.
Yeah,
I do love my pirate games. I do.
Thank you for reminding me of Lost
favorite is
Cities
Quest
too,
for
because
Eldorado.
that's my number one. I think Lost Cities.
Lost Cities.
And all of its versions. Lost Cities, the board game. Lost Cities, the dice game. If it has Lost Cities on it, I've got it, and I love it.
My City was fantastic too. That was another Knizia that I really liked.
That is at my house, has not been played yet.
You're gonna like it.
I know.
Yeah, you're gonna like that one.
I'm with you, Chris. Lost Cities would be my number one. I played a game of that the other day. It's not going anywhere ever.
Cool. So we went through. Everyone's got one.
Correct.
Yes.
Let's go
Tie
back
game.
around. Go ahead. Take it away.
Oh, you're tossing me?
Go.
Oh,
Yeah, please.
Awesome. I want to talk about this one. Let's talk about Joystick Heroes. If we don't look this one up. So that's joystick, all one word. This is a game that I kickstarted, and I'm not entirely certain if it's available in retail yet. You may be able to get a hold of it. Maybe we could look into that while we're chatting about it. But this is a game about running around a retro arcade and playing games to be the best retro arcade game player. And I've got a couple of pieces here.
Oh, cool.
So everybody gets one of these planks for your character. I like this one because she has mismatched shoes.
Wait. We could do this.
Hold on. There we go.
There you go.
So she's got mismatched shoes, and that's why she's my favorite to play. But you put these little red cubes in this bottom row. You've got 4 different genres of games and 4 different skills. You've got joysticks, driving, buttons, and shooting. So you kind of create your character at the beginning, and that gives you a dice pool that you use to play these arcade games. And there's actually a grid of arcade games on the table, and you have to there's a little bit of worker placement, actually. You put your standee in front of one of those games, and that ties that game up until you move again, which is fun. But you look at your sheet, you compare it to the icons on the bottom to form your dice pool. You throw your dice, and depending on the result, you get a number of tickets. If you beat the high score, you get a prize. The prizes are things like, I just got them over here somewhere. Here we go. There are candy, and there is
we planned that.
ducks,
Okay.
and
Lizards
teddy
or
bears,
ducks? Okay.
and spider rings, and useless sunglasses.
Nice.
There's no mechanical difference between them. You just can pick the one you want.
Spider rings.
But these are the victory points in the game that you're trying to get. So you earn them either by getting high scores in games or by trading in 5 tickets. The interesting decision is you need those tickets to build your character, because between rounds, you can trade in your tickets to get more red cubes, to build your skills, to get better at games, to give yourself a better chance of achieving those high scores. And along the way, you'll also have these power cards, which you can burn throughout, and you get to draw a card every round. You can spend tickets for extra cards, but you can give yourself a reroll, or change the face of one of your dice, or give yourself a bonus one time on a particular genre. Every time you get this white die, which if you roll the heart, you can get extra dice. There's extra points on there. There's a key, which you can discard one of your cards for a couple of extra points if it'll help you. So it's certainly a ton of luck. But I find it incredibly satisfying to play, and it is probably the only game I've ever played about playing arcade games, plural. I've certainly played games that are either licensed games based on games, or games that are evoking them, like your bricks, that kind of thing. There's a great shot of it.
It looks really cool.
To see it in action.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, that one, you can see the tokens there. So every time you play a game, you drop a token on it. Whenever there's 3 tokens on a game, it goes away and it gets replaced. So the games get cycled through as you play. And it also has that bit of thematic, you gotta put your token in if you want to play. If you beat a high score in a game, that also cycles it out. So just fun game. I bought it from a Facebook ad.
Okay.
Which is not always an awesome decision.
Yeah.
But I looked into it. It spoke to me. I decided to punt on it, and I'm so glad that I did. And it's one of these games that I bring it places, and people are like, what is that? I haven't heard of it. I don't know where this came from. I think Dice Tower reviewed it recently, but it didn't get a ton of buzz, I don't think. But it certainly deserves it, especially if you have a high tolerance for luck in games, which I certainly do. But you want that sort of retro feel. I also like that the second tiebreaker in the game is you draw a card off the deck and then you have a playoff. So you get that little bit of overtime in the game, which not a lot of games do. I appreciate that too.
Are the names of the arcade games real ones, or are they spoofs?
They're
on
pastiches.
Ones?
So I have a couple I can show you. So I have Delivery Man, which is Paperboy.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah.
And then I've got Grill Guys, which is Burger Time.
Oh, okay. I'm
there's
trying
a
to guess
couple
them out. Yeah.
A couple of pinball machines in there.
Okay.
So most of them I can identify. There's a few that feel either a little more generic or I just don't get the reference. But
That's cool.
There's variable powers you can use optionally. So there's a deck of cards, and you can deal everybody a card, and they get like one extra ability. Like, for example, I'm better at shooting games, or I'm better at games with one word in the title, that kind of thing. Or I can elbow you out of the way and play the game you're on if you want to play that. So the base mechanism is simple, but it has these little corners and things that add extra layers and add some extra interesting decisions.
What's your pizza?
Yeah, the pizza is your first player token. You get these very tactile tickets that you use as your currency in the game to get your prizes, to get level up your character.
This is cool.
Yeah, it's wicked cool.
I love
Uppercut. There you go.
There you go.
Titan Rage. It's Rampage.
I love the theme here. And the fact that you mentioned like one of the prizes was like useless sunglasses.
And the spider rings.
It's
awesome.
just like one of the trips with my kids to any of those places, and they want to spend the money immediately to get this. I'm like, why would just store your tickets for a while and get something decent at least?
Like,
But-
you know, there's an Android tablet behind that glass. Like, if you just save it for a minute.
Yeah.
No, I want some Airheads today. Thanks.
Oh.
And there's a lot of games, it looks like, too. Like this whole
Yeah,
stack
yeah.
over here.
There's a decent stack of games. You usually go through most or all of them in a game.
Yeah.
You can reshuffle if you need to. The gold ones are interesting because those are called premium games. So instead of rolling just once, you roll once for each level of the game. So it adds that little bit of progressive tension for those particular ones if you play them. So
They cost 75 cents.
yeah, I mean it's just fun. The little details and fun things they put in there.
Oh. I'll have to look for this one.
Yeah.
If you find a way that you can just get it in a normal place and not in the secondary market,
Yeah,
I'd love to
it's
hear about that,
125
so I can tell
eBay.
other people to go to that place. So
Joystick Heroes. Oh, we do have a caller in the wings.
oh, nice.
Bum, bum, bum. We're back to our callers, which anyone can call in. It's call-aboard.com, and you just tell us what game you've been playing. But this guy is no stranger to the channel.
He is not.
He is not. In fact, he is also heavily on our Discord channel and has a whole dedicated.
His channel is popping, as they say.
He has a whole dedicated Discord channel. So bring it on in 3, in 2, in 1. Howdy, Mr. Rao.
Hey folks, hey everybody, how's it going? Oh,
We had to get more Ryans in here.
absolutely.
Ryan Rao is here.
It's the best name in the history
See?
of the world.
I know. Sorry, Brian Chandler, if you're watching.
Well, no, okay, Bryans are allowed.
What?
Bryans and Ryans are allowed.
You're just saying that.
He's busy
You
buying
know,
Acropolis.
you know what the rules are.
We still haven't had an Anthony, I'll just say.
There's no other Tonys. Oh,
So welcome. You had a whole crazy month on your channel.
yeah, I've been playing Ashes Reborn all month long on the channel here. So I want to just come and plug that because I actually finally got the chance to play the solo co-op box, which is called the Red Rains Corpse of Viros, and it has been fantastic. If anybody doesn't know what Ashes Reborn is, it's essentially like a Magic the Gathering style card battling game, but they use dice as your magic instead of cards, and it's absolutely lovely. It's fantastic. Chris is like nodding his head. He's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of into this type thing."
I actually have it sitting.
I was watching
Which
some of
Chris? There's 2 Chris's. Hang on.
Oh,
See
right.
what happens?
Right. Both Chris's are nodding their head yes.
Yeah.
And yes.
I was going to tell you, I was watching the whole series. I didn't know anything about this. And because of you, when I went into the local game shop the other day, they reorganized after, unfortunately, our Dave, the owner, passed, as we had, mentioned here on this show many months ago. They've reorganized. So I will say it's very easy to see a lot of the games that had maybe been hidden before. And there was one of them on the shelf. And I would not have even noticed it except for I had been watching your videos. I was like, oh, I know that game. So
Perfect. Yeah. And so this co-op expansion or solo expansion, I've been playing it mainly solo, but it has essentially taken the exact same essence and boiled it down into and boiled it into the co-op experience. And man, oh man, they did a fantastic job with it, and I can't wait because they're going to be doing a lot more of these. They already have a second one that's been announced, and from what I've gathered, since there's right now there I think 7 styles of Magic, they're planning on 7 of these boxes so far because they want each box is going to focus on a style of Magic. This one was, I think, around the ceremonial Magic, which was all about sacrificing your creatures and bringing them back to life and stuff like that. And then the next one's all about nature and just dealing heavy amounts of damage type thing. So,
Ashes
yeah.
April has been great to watch.
Oh, thanks, Dan. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been playing both competitive games and the solo co-op games as well. So I just want people just to know about it because I want, just like when Maurice was on earlier, I just want people to know about this so that people can start playing it and exposing themselves to it so that more of it gets made. Yeah. And you won't go wrong. I have started said this is my favorite card dueling style game. Now it's replaced pretty much all of them for me because it's just so good. I just need to start building a community here in Saskatoon just so that we can all start playing it again.
How many characters are in it? Because you had a lot. So what's the count right now?
So as of right now, once you buy the core box and all of the expansion character packs, there are 28 different characters you can play as.
Yeah.
So, and the deck building in this game, if you want to explore deck building, all the pre-constructed decks are amazing and very functional and have fun with your friends type deal. But the deck building in this game is so smooth because every single card can go in every single deck.
Interesting.
Pretty much all you do is you select the cards that you want part of your deck. And it's a small deck. It's only 30 cards. You're allowed a maximum of 3 copies of a card in your deck. But as soon as you put together your card pool, you just take a look at, okay, what dice do I need now? And now you make your pool of dice. And then there you go. You've got a deck to compete with.
Moderator Chris, have you tried this game out?
I am ashamed to say that this has been sitting on my to-play shelf for like 15 years.
Oh my gosh.
I acquired a copy of this in a trade or something like that, and in the same box, it's Ashes, some Doomtown cards, and some Marvel Dice Masters. So that's how long ago this was.
Wow.
And I was like, all of these are awesome games. I'm getting a great deal in this trade. I'm definitely going to play all these games. And then I definitely haven't played any of those games yet. But I refuse to trade it away or cull it because there's 3 great games in that box. Mm-hmm. And also I don't have the boxes for 2 of those games because the person just jammed all of them into the Ashes box. So I'm glad it's still around. It suggests that it's a great enough game that they're still supporting it. So I need to go back in time 10, 15 years and try that first edition.
Yeah, and they have an amazing product, especially if you have the white box, which is referred to as the first edition, if it's the white box. They have an upgrade kit so that you can upgrade every single card from the first edition into this new edition. They kind of did some balancing issues. They had some erratas that they actually just physically put onto the cards. And so they have an upgrade kit that is relatively very inexpensive for the amount of cards that they replaced in the game.
Well, that's good to know because I would have just opened it up and not known any of that errata and just been playing the alternate darkest timeline of Ashes Reborn. So,
oh yeah, they have a whole storyline on this too. There's an actual character. There's actually a Phoenix Born that manipulates time, and there's a whole story about them like literally resetting the universe so that this new alternate Ashes Reborn universe has now been created. And if you can find the lore out there, I think there's a wiki page. I can't remember where I'll find it at some point. The lore behind this is so neat and cool. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, Ashes Reborn. And right now they have a tournament that's going on right now. They call it AshCon. It's called AshCon 4. So there's a big tournament where they place all these players. I'm actually entered into it for the very first time ever. I just net decked something and just threw it together and say, this is going to be my deck. I'm placed into a pod with 3 other players. And so we just have to arrange our times. There's a digital implementation of Ashes Reborn. It's called Ash Techie. And so you can just literally, it's kind of like a tabletop simulator, but it's programmed only for Ashes Reborn. And it takes care of like all of like the tokens and your dice. And
That's good.
you can literally get lost in the game. You can actually forget how certain rules work because the computer just does everything for you style of game. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I really look forward to it. And if you win a pod, you get some prizes and stuff like that. And then you can just kind of bring it. I'm not expecting to. I'm absolutely terrible at this game. I'm good. I'm good solo. I'm good playing solo co-op, but I'm absolutely terrible at playing it competitively.
Yeah.
So that's the part with the
competitive
game, though. If you're awful at it and want to keep going back to it.
Oh my gosh.
There are games like that in my collection. It's like I've almost never won a game and I still want to play it a whole bunch. Like,
that sounds like a great topic for an episode sometime. Games we're terrible at, but we still love.
Barrow's thinking about Quacks of Quedlinburg. Continue.
I'm not game and I've never won it.
It's haunted. Haunted.
Oh,
So what was your pick,
pieces
Mr.
for
Ralph,
that.
for what's on your table? Because we did a tangent on Ashes Reborn.
Oh,
What
yeah.
was, what was your actual pick?
So I'm trying to figure it. So Maurice already stole the spotlight. I've been playing Astro Knights. I just learned it the other night. That's actually been really good. Has anybody literally talked about spots yet? For
No,
tonight?
no one's talked
No,
about
not
spots
really,
yet.
no.
Except for everybody talking about spots, because I've seen that in every social media that I have. It is all over the place.
It's so
and
good.
People are saying, Chris, you love Push Your Luck games. You definitely need to get a hold of spots. And I've heard that message from about 7,000 people.
We
You haven't played it
literally
yet?
just started
Yeah.
for anyone in our Discord, and if anyone wants to join and they're not in the Discord, let me know. I can get you an invite. But we literally just started a tournament for spots because it is essentially become the official game of the Discord because like 15 copies. Yeah,
No, I'm
if there's
so-
a tabletop endorsement, I guess this is the one because we.
Yeah, there's going to be a second edition with the Tabletop Express logo on the box. A Tabletop
geez.
Express endorsed.
No
You
way.
got your word out. You got your word out well before Shut Up and Sit Down did.
Well, to be fair, we probably Shut Up and Sit Down and our group. We probably heard from the same people. We heard it from So Very Wrong About Games. They talked about spots.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, and then boom.
And then now it's taking over the world.
It
And
was so
to
good.
Eddie in the chat, before you dig into this, to Eddie in the chat, I've said this like 5 times, so I'm gonna say it now. Come on over. You can borrow my copy. I gotta give you a copy of something back anyways, but still, you can borrow it. But it'll be a short trip because my kid's gonna request it before I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played it on Saturday.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So
I literally just before I hopped on here just finished playing a game with my wife and my son. So
Oh,
because
jeez.
ever since we finally got the physical copy delivered to the house, we've played it literally multiple times a day and night and everything like that. He really enjoys now the one. It's the variant where you have all of the tricks
Off the leash variant.
off the leash. Yeah,
That's the
what
best
it's called.
one.
Yeah. So when
is.
it gets exhausted, it goes to the
So-
bottom of the pile, and a new one comes up to the top, and just kind of keeps it nice and fresh. It's my preferred way of playing it now because I was like, wow, this is actually so. I took an already great game and made it better.
Yeah.
Essentially.
So if you haven't played Spots yet, it's a push your luck dice game where you are filling in the spots on different dog cards. For example, said dog, which is totally a dog and not a
Doog.
So you're taking a dice, you're matching the spots on them, and once you've completed a dog, like Duke, on your turn, when it comes back to you, you can choose to either score all the dogs that you have full dice on, or you can keep rolling. The issue is that whatever dice you can't place, you're going to place them into your berry pile, and if your berry pile's value total sum exceeds seven, you bust, and you lose all the dice in your berry pile
Everything.
and all the
Everything.
dice on your unflipped cards. Because the thing is, you scoring is effectively skipping a turn. Because the efficient way to do it is you have all of your cards with all the dice filled on those cards. Because as soon as you do that, you just automatically score. And also what you're doing is you're choosing one of the 6 tricks that are out there. Tricks in the sense of dog tricks, not like trick taking. you're gonna take whatever one of those tricks and do the ability on that trick. And then you also have dog bones, which let you re-roll all your values. This game is so good. I adore this one so much. It's designed by John Perry, as well as Alex Haig and Justin Vickers. And Alex Haig, Justin Vickers did Wavelength. John Perry did the fantastic Air, Land, and Sea game. So, Spots is where it's at.
This game has moments, and that's what gets me. Because contrary to my family's belief, I usually don't win this game because against them for some reason I do. Until the other night.
On Saturday, yeah.
Until on Saturday when basically Ryan was going to win a game. It was obvious he was on the next turn most likely to win. And I picked a trick that said roll 3 dice.
Like such a bad guy.
Yeah, roll 3 dice. And then after you roll 3 dice, you may roll 1 dice, and then you may keep repeating that action. I rolled the 3 dice, put them on my 3 spots. Rolled the dice, put it on a spot. Rolled the dot, put it on a spot. I filled 8 spots in with all the rolls, nothing to bust me, and won the game. Yeah. And it's moments like that though that this game constantly has that you're just like, how did you pull that off? Or you busted, and it's just, but you're never upset. You're like it's just fun. So it's just a brilliant design. I like I said, I think that 7.1 on BGG is criminal. Quite frankly, it bugs me.
Whatever.
I don't take those numbers.
BGG is deflated a little bit. Like 7 is a pretty strong rating for a game.
I know
this
is so good though. 7 is solid.
I don't think it was. I don't think I saw it in the nominations list.
It was not in the nominations that I saw.
Yeah.
No, criminal.
I nominated it.
That's all right.
You know what? It made selling a lot of copies.
Yeah. It was the only game on our top 2022 that made all 3 of our lists.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. This game, took me by surprise how much I loved it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the one that gets coupled with that game on our game nights now is also Sea Salt and Paper. Yeah. So every time that we play Spots, we seem to always play Sea Salt and Paper as well.
That's the other game I need. Rachel's got a comment, by the way, just so you all know. According to Amazon, frequently bought together Spots, Kites, and Cat in the Box.
That checks out.
Yeah, that makes
Cat
in the Box. That's also really good.
Actually, all right, Mr. Rao, thank you for calling. But before I let you go, I'm going to plug your channel.
Oh.
You can look up Mr. Rao Gaming every Tuesday and Thursday night. And
except for tonight.
But you can also find him on our Discord as well, too.
Yep. Always on there. Always love chatting with everybody.
You have a dedicated channel.
It's such a great community. Such a lot of great, lovely folks on there. So it's just really easy to come on in and just feel like welcome and part of a community. That's the best part about it.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you. And like I said, you're obviously one of 5 dedicated channels for other content creators who are part of our channel. So certainly appreciate that. And thanks for calling in. Always good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm going to stay in the chat for a while and then.
Sweet. Definitely.
Cool beans.
Pleasure to meet you.
Peace, everybody.
Adios.
Later, Mr. Rao. All right. So, moderator Chris, I want to give you the floor now.
Sure.
Because I know time is limited.
Yeah. So I decided that I'd like to bring a little surprise here. I don't even know if Chris knows about this because we were talking about it before he jumped on. But
he doesn't know the details.
Right. So for those who know what I've done in the board game world, years ago I did a show called Flip the Table. This was from 2012 to 2017, a show about cheesy, weird, and obscure board games like the ones sitting behind me. You can still look that up. The episodes are still out there. After that, I did a little bit of game design. I designed a game called Roll Estate, which you can still get at PNP Arcade for $3 lousy. But these days, I occupy my time running virtual game shows, trying to create an experience on Zoom for folks where it's kind of like hiring a clown, right? You get some people together on Zoom. I jump in, and it's like playing a Jackbox game where the host is talking live back to you. And I try to create an experience where you feel like you're on a television game show. And my particular show takes place in a retro shopping mall. So I thought that it might be fun to bring just a little bit of that tonight and maybe see if you'd like to enter one of my stores in the mall and try one of these games live on the air and we can play a head-to-head matchup. Does that sound good?
Sure.
That's perfect. That sounds
Okay.
perfect.
So I have a little bit of setup that I need to do, but there's a sizzle reel waiting in the videotape operator's hands as we speak. So maybe we can take a look at that to give people a feel for what Mall Night Long is all about. And when we come back, we'll try this game out.
I'll bring it on. Here we go.
All right, sounds good.
And we are back.
All right, we're back. So that is the look and feel of Mall Night Long. Let me fix my collar here.
Whoa, when did game show moderator Chris come in?
Let's go ahead and put this on the screen. Now, one thing that you're not going to get tonight is sound. You got to book a game if you want to actually hear it. Also, this is to make sure that the algorithm gods don't get mad at us when this goes out on YouTube, so we don't get muting and that kind of thing.
Totally.
So that share should be going in. I don't know if you can punch that up. There we go.
Boom.
So this is the mall directory. These are the 7 different games in Mall Night Long. So, for example, Shoppington's Department Store, if you listen to Flip the Table, that's the eBay game. I look up weird things on eBay, and we try to figure out the price of those. 10-star video, we look at movie trailers and try to figure out the IMDb rating. Speedy's Vinyl, it's a Name That Tune game, but all the songs are playing at the wrong speed. It's that kind of thing. But I'm going to take you straight to the finale, the last game that we play in every game of Mall Night Long, which is the Big Money Arcade, our grand finale. So we're going to play that right now live.
Okay.
What we'll do is we will put Ryan and Anthony on the red team.
All right.
We will put
Team
Chris
red.
on the blue team. But if a caller calls in and wants to help Chris out, maybe we can loop him in right in the middle of the game here. We can add a teammate because we do play with uneven teams. So if there's somebody waiting in the wings, we're not going to make you wait until the end of the game.
I'm happy to accept a teammate if anyone
There you
wants
go.
to join. You know, and you
Who's
could
gonna
have
step
been on the
up?
call before. I'd call back. In. Fine with me.
So let's go ahead and play the intro for the Big Money Arcade, our grand finale. We always have a fun video intro to set the scene and set the mood. This decides the champion of Mall Night Long, which is played for fake dollars. There's no actual prizes in Mall Night Long, which means that we can make the prizes worth a lot of money, right? Because nobody actually gets any money. But this is the Big Money Arcade.
Bring in
We
your
always
teammate,
play-
Chris.
The hottest. Oh, we got a teammate? Do we have somebody on the line?
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
All
I'll
right,
bring
let's
him in
find
right
out who
now.
Chris's teammate's going to be.
Mr. Rouseback.
Mr. Rouse back.
Yes.
Couldn't stay away.
This sounds like too much fun. I have to stay on.
All right, perfect. So on the red team, we have Ryan and Anthony. On the blue team, we have Chris and Mr. Rao. We have the game with the fruits is the hottest game in the arcade. And this is what we're going to play. So the way that this game works, I'm going to go ahead and start you out as though we had just been playing a 2-hour session of Mall Night Long with $5,000, just to kind of approximate how much progress you haven't made. Your goal in this game is to beat the high score on the arcade game set by the mysterious and illustrious AAA. As the top of the screen there, it's a score of $60,000. Okay? The way that you're going to do this is by finding the fruit on the board. So behind these 16 boxes, there are 8 cherries. They're worth $5,000 a piece. There are 4 bananas. Those are worth $10,000 a piece. And there's one key hidden somewhere on the board. That is the key to the DeLorean DMC-12, valued tonight at $25,000. So, lots of money to be won. So the way this will work, Ryan and Anthony will go first. I'll just pick that arbitrarily.
Sure.
You're going to choose between 2 and 4 of the boxes on the board. As few as 2, as many as 4. We're going to open those boxes up, and you're going to collect any money that you find. But here's the trick. You need to avoid the 3 bombs that are on the board, because if you find the bomb anytime during your turn, your turn is immediately over, and I'm going to pay the other team any money that you would have won. Okay? So the more boxes you open, the higher your risk that the other team's going to win, but the more money that you could collect, including the key to that car. So you'll either survive the turn and collect the money, you'll blow up a bomb, you'll pay the other team.
Feel pressure.
We'll go back and forth until one team ends their turn with more than $60,000. That team is the winner tonight. If we blow up all 3 bombs on the board, I'll refresh the board and we'll continue playing until we have a clear winner.
Okay.
So there must always be a possibility that you could go one way or the other. If we run into any particular corner case with that, I'll explain that when we get there. So, Ryan and Anthony, the way this works, and folks in the chat, feel free to make suggestions. Not that it matters, not that you have inside information or anything.
It's like Price is Right.
But you need to tell me between 2 and 4 numbers. I'm not going to start opening boxes until you tell me what numbers you want.
Should we talk out loud, or you want us to double?
You can talk out loud. Yeah, you can collaborate.
Like there's some strategy behind this.
I'm starting to think going for 6, 7, 8. I don't know why, but literally sequential, 3 of them.
Okay.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
The advantage is right.
Dan wants you to
16
buy a
are out
Val.
there, so why not 3? 3, 16. I feel good about
Austin?
that. Yeah, Austin. I feel good.
All right.
What you go to those numbers?
Sure,
you
go ahead.
pick numbers.
Well, I was thinking more at the bottom of the screen. I was looking 14, 15, but
Let's do 14, 15, 16.
okay.
All 3.
You want to do 3?
Yeah. I feel good. I feel good.
This is cracking me up.
Final answer.
Final answer: 14, 15, 16.
14, then 15, then 16 in that order. Is that how you
In
want
that
it?
order.
Okay. So we're going to start opening these up for the red team. We start with box number 14, which is
All right.
the
Good.
cherries.
Good,
So that's
good.
$5,000 potentially in your bank. But you got to avoid those bombs. So we go to box 15, which is
Okay.
that's a banana. That's 15,000.
I'm
You should
feeling
hear these
good.
Amazing sound effects on my side. You want to book a game, so you know what this sounds like. $15,000. If 16 is not a bomb, you've got a strong start to
Okay.
your game.
All right.
Box 16 is
Yes.
$25,000 to start.
Woo!
1,
Booyah.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh,
Blue
man.
team, you got your work cut out for you. They're halfway there.
We're halfway there.
Dominating
And
already.
there's
High
less
five that.
wiggle
That was
room now
awesome.
because you've got fewer squares, but still all 3 bombs in play.
Lots of bombs.
What are you going to do?
There is a DeLorean key out there too.
There
though.
is the key to the DeLorean
So-
out there. That's true.
I don't know how many. You
Never
feeling?
tell me the odds.
Yeah, Ryan. How many you feeling? We got Dan wants us to buy a Val and then do 4.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure what game we're playing.
I think you
There's
should.
no stake in this. It's over 4. It'll be fine.
Oh gosh.
We got to play catch up, but we got to be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but we can't let them outshine us and everything like that. Like
No, so
Yeah,
do you
that's
want to go
already been
big?
done.
Do you want to go big and go bigger? Go.
Oh,
big and go home?
if anybody knows my gambling past, of course you got to go big.
You got to go.
All right. So let's. Do you want? We could go. We could do what? How many? 4 to.
2 to 4.
2,
to 4?
3, or
2
4.
to 4.
I mean, we go 4. They could win, but we could also get ahead. So
That's what you got to be careful of. If you open all 4 boxes, you could just hand them the game.
Yeah.
yeah,
I like that. Oh, sorry.
I say we
Interesting
go
strategy.
3. I say we match them with 3 and
Always
Match
money in the
3.
banana stand.
Match 3.
yeah,
I like
We'll
it.
give. We'll give Dan his. Well, I say we give Dan his 4, because then we can blame it if we don't. No, just
Oh,
kidding.
number 4.
I like it. Blame it on the listeners.
So no. So we'll do 4. What do you want? I'll give you. You pull the second number.
Lucky 7.
7.
Okay?
All right,
Famous
and then
last words.
let's go 11.
All right, so I'm hearing 4, then 7, then 11. That's your answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
7-Eleven was
Here it
always
goes.
good to
You got
me
some
back in
catching
my
up to
college
do.
days.
We start with box number 4, which is that's the key to the DeLorean.
Oh, no.
EMC 12. $25,000. But this game just got real dangerous because if
Yeah.
you roll up a bomb, then this
Give us
is
the
gonna
game
get
right
ugly.
now.
Yeah.
So we go to
Come
box
on,
number
bomb.
7.
Come on, good old 7-Eleven.
7.
We're
Don't
gonna
be
keep
bad.
that DeLorean. Box 7
Oh man.
is of cherry.
2 bombs.
If a bomb blows up,
We win, right?
you don't win. You need
We
more
tie.
than 60,000. You'll be tied.
We'll be tied.
But you'll have a tap in. You might be able to walk in. So we're looking to light up the blue team's score here with box number 11. We hope it's not a bomb. Is the blue team going to catch up?
Come on, Slurpee.
Box 11 is a set of cherries. That's $35,000.
There we
And
go.
look at this, 40,000 to 30,000. The red team now in control.
We're in
2
trouble.
bananas in play. All of the bombs are out there. You got a tough decision to make.
Yeah. Man.
Oh man. Thank you, Dan.
Oh, jeez. 2? Yeah. Wait, two in total or just number 2?
2 in total.
2 in total. Very safe. Okay. Then how do you want to do that?
I will look. I picked last time.
All right. Wait. What?
Well, you wanted to do 6, 7, 8.
All right.
Why don't you do 6 and 8?
You're doing 2 in total. 6 and 8? Yeah, you think so? Now, because I feel like then I want to do 8 and 12. You know, then it's like nicely.
I like that you're
Nicely
saying like
clicked
there's
on.
logic to this. It's
No,
a
it's nicely
randomized
clicked on.
bunch of
That's what
squares.
this game does to you. It convinces
Let's do
you
12,
that the
then
world
8.
makes sense.
Oh, you flip
12.
the script. All right.
Then 8. Yeah. Final answer. You think?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like the way you said go ahead.
It's
Now,
It's all good.
12, then 8.
12,
do it.
then 8 for the red team.
You guys are going
So,
to be going home in separate cars after this.
I'm already home. It's okay.
red team looking to retake the lead. We start with box number 12, which is
Boom.
Okay.
third banana. That's real
Okay.
strong.
That's good.
If box number
Banana.
8 is not a bomb, then you
Getting
are
Ralph
inches
Wiggum in my head here.
from
Go,
winning.
banana.
Go.
Go.
Box number 8 is
Oh, thank
That's
goodness.
15 grand.
Thank goodness. All right, we're just
Now
ahead by a
it's
little
real
bit.
because only one banana left in play. A ton of bombs still
Yes.
out there.
Oh man.
You are, let's see, 5 cherries away, or a banana and 3 cherries from winning this game.
Man.
We got to do 2.
Yeah,
We can't
you
afford to
can't,
do-
you can't go with 3 because there's like almost a third of the boxes left with bombs.
Yeah, it's getting ugly out there.
The odds are not in our favor.
Never tell me
I
the
do
odds.
not volunteer
Yeah.
to tribute at all here. Yeah,
Where the heck did the bombs get placed? That's what I'm
I feel like I'm playing a game of Minesweeper.
Yep,
That's
it's
what-
exactly what it is.
It's
Minesweeper, but with less useful information. That's
no use outside of the numbers left. Oh man.
Um,
Crunch those numbers, math teacher. True.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We each pick a number. I think that's just what we got. There's no other option here.
fair strategy.
Okay, you pick the first one and I'll pick the second one.
I will. That row 1 is
I feel the
scaring.
tension.
That 1, 5, 9, 13 scares me. I'm gonna go. Oh, I don't like that. Even. No, I think I'm gonna go 5 actually. Let's go 5.
Okay,
5,
so I'm hearing
5.
box number 5.
And then I will go. I'm selecting number. I was torn between 10 and 13. I was torn between. No,
Go if
let's
you
go.
got.
Yeah, we'll go 13. We'll go 2 prime numbers.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. T.
Number 5,
There's the math.
number
teacher.
13, looking to get as close as you can to that 60,000. We start with box 5.
Oh.
First bomb of the game. It puts the red team in control. You've not paid them any extra money, which is useful. The red team also has 2 bombs still in play.
So that's the best case scenario for us.
That was
didn't
actually
work
good.
out too bad. This could
Yeah.
break in your favor.
I guess click, right? Wait, didn't you say the number?
So once the bomb blows up, that's the end of the
That was
turn.
it.
Oh,
That's
so it's
end of
us.
our turn.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
It's on you now.
My bad. I was like, what's going on?
Just trying to avoid responsibility for this whole thing.
Click
Red
13.
team.
Okay, but how many numbers do you want to do?
We should do 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 13 and what?
10.
Stealing their
I feel
number.
good about that. I feel good about that. No, you don't feel good about that.
All right.
What do you like?
13's good.
What's
It's all
you
smoke
pick
and
the,
mirrors.
you pick the other number.
All
was
smoke
gonna
and
go with
mirrors
1.
on this side.
1? I like it.
All right.
Final
Wanna do
answer.
13 first.
13 then 1.
All right.
13,
13 then 1.
Then 1. All right, let's see where this goes. We start with
Give us
lucky
the
or
points. Give us
unlucky
the point.
13. We'll find out.
Give us the points.
Oh.
Second bomb.
Ooh.
So a third bomb refreshes the board, puts another DeLorean into play. That could be interesting.
I like that.
Oh my goodness.
Does it
It is
randomize
blue
again?
team's control, and it does scramble the order.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be fun if you could just memorize all this. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take the key and the banana and the banana and the banana, and then we're done.
Then we're done.
We got 2 options. We could do if we do the 2 and we get a banana and a cherry, but if we do 2, they can't win either.
Mm.
Now remember,
It's 2.
if there is only bombs or only fruit on the board refreshes immediately. So there
Right.
must always be a path forward.
Yeah. I say we could go for I'd say I definitely want to go number. I'm with, you know what? Dan didn't leave us straight last time. I'm gonna say we should go for number 2.
Are we selecting 2 numbers?
So well, he said at least number 2. Yeah, so I'd say 2 numbers. Number 2 is one of them.
2 numbers, one of which is 2,
And the other one's 10.
and the other
All
one
right,
is
2 and 10. Is that
2?
order? Do you want to do that order?
Sure.
All right, we'll do 2 then 10.
All right,
The
2,
old Doyle Brunson.
then 10.
Deuce.
Let's see if Doyle Brunson will serve you well and get you up to that 55 you're looking for. We start with the deuce. It's some
Okay.
cherries.
Okay.
5,000 potentially for you. Now we go to that 10. There it is. You got just what you wanted.
Yes.
Oh no.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 15,000.
Let's
the
go.
Red team.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So only
So
cherries
what's left?
and
There's
1
no,
bomb.
Yeah. Only cherries left. How many cherries do we need?
3 cherries gets us tied.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
So, we might as well pick
So the
3
board's got to
numbers.
refresh either way.
You want to do it?
Or 4 numbers.
for you
Well,
to
the
win.
problem is,
Well,
yeah,
what if
I kind of like Ryan Clements's idea of 6 and 9. That's nice. 6 and 9.
Okay, go for it.
Let's do it. And if not, we could blame
All right.
him. Blame
See if this
him.
works.
Yeah,
out.
I like to blame people.
6 and 9.
We start with box 6. Set of cherries, 5,000, so it'll get you up to 50. If 9 is not a bomb, then you're going to be tied at
Yep.
55,000. That is what a predicament that we have here. So,
Yep.
blue team,
What
listen
a
carefully.
match.
You have to pick at least 2. But if you find the cherry, you'll take your second pick on a fresh board. Okay? So you must always have a chance to win here. 55,000, you need 10,000 effectively to win this game. Just got to avoid that last bomb. Let's see if you can do it.
What's your gut feeling?
My gut's going number 1.
Yeah.
I was going 1 earlier, so I am good with 1. Because when I said 5 earlier, I was originally going to do 1. So I'd say let's go 1 as well. And then
All right, so we're going to go with box
and
number
then
1.
3.
Box
Yes,
number
so
1.
1, then hypothetically 3, because hopefully 1 is not.
Hopefully
a bomb.
we don't even see 3, right?
Exactly.
Because if 1 is the cherry, then we refresh the board and we take one more pick. If box
I mean, we
number
got
1
Thanos
is the
on those
cherries,
here,
you're on
so.
the edge of victory. It's the
Yeah.
cherries.
There you go.
You are $1 away from winning. We refresh the board.
Oh my goodness.
A fresh setup here. There's a car out there. There's all the bananas. There's all the cherries. There's also 3 bombs. And you only have to pick 1. You committed to 2 boxes. 1 box could win you this game.
Do you want to go back to a corner? Go back to a corner box?
Corner box? I go for a corner box. You know what?
13.
Actually, I worded that to you too early. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because that's in the bank right now, right?
Yeah.
So
let's
13 or 16 is where I'm
16.
16.
16.
All right, 16.
all right. If 16 is anything other than the bomb, you've just won this game.
Yeah.
Oof.
I like those.
If it is a bomb, the red team gets 5,000 and gets control of the board with $1 away from victory.
Look at Anthony right now. He can't look.
This is a critical box. A lot rides on this pick. Let's find out. What's behind box 16? It's a banana. You got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14,
Oh, well
15.
done. Well
and with
done,
a final
gentlemen.
score of $70,000, the blue team is tonight's all night long champion at the Big Money Arcade.
Nice.
Red team, you're going to get a set of the Encyclopedia International, a case of turtled wax, a year's supply of Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat, and a lousy copy of the home game. Thank you so much for playing, and thank you for letting me bring a little game show magic to Call Aboard tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank
No,
you.
thank you. That was so much fun.
Yes, thank you for that.
That's a blast. That's a
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed
And that's
that.
just one of the games.
Yeah, there's 7 rounds in all, so that's the big finale. But the other stuff you can see is very much a comedy game show experience, right? So we dig through weird movies. There's a couple of word games in there. There's a game where you're guessing the calories of junk food, which is kind of fun. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can get a hold of me in the Discord. I'm Flip the Table Chris. You send me a direct message there if you want. The email address is playmallnightlong@gmail.com. You can also catch up to me on Facebook, facebook.com/mallnightlong, and I'm on Twitter @tableflipsyou. So those are all the places you can find me, but probably the easiest place is in the Discord, which I just joined recently, and it's a super fun community. I'm already having a lot of fun there. Some great conversations, and it's great to be a part of the Tabletop Express community on Discord.
We love having you on there.
Yeah.
And,
this was a
and
blast.
again, thank you so much for joining us, Chris.
Oh, it's my
Moderator,
pleasure.
Chris.
So happy to be invited to join. It's great to see you again after I think the last time we saw each other in person was probably
Granite Game Summit
years ago.
Yeah.
I
No,
love
PAX Unplugged.
PAX Unplugged. That's right. We had a brief encounter there. We had brunch.
Yeah, we had brunch. Yeah.
So again, thanks so much for inviting me on. I hope you have an amazing rest of your night and play more games and have a good night.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
Take
you,
care,
Chris.
everybody.
Take care.
That was a
And
good
thank you,
matchup.
Ryan, for
Awesome.
popping on as my teammate for that.
Couldn't leave you stranded.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Rao, kicking you out. Congratulations on winning. Later. Bye.
Later.
So
Cool.
Great.
yeah, I will put it out there if anyone else wants to call in. I know we'll probably go into reviews fairly shortly because we do have a bunch of reviews. I know if at least 2 of us, and just so everyone knows this, if at least 2 of us have played a game, we basically are able to we're pretty much feel comfortable doing a review. When we have 3 of us who's played it, even better. But if at least 2 of us had, we're definitely going to dig into reviews. We didn't do reviews one of the months in March because we're doing all of our top videos. So we also had some catch up to do.
We had a lot of reviews to go through.
Yeah, so we got a lot of reviews to go through. I do want to make a note before we start just on one game. We don't even need to bring it up, but I just want to give a shout out to a game that I've been playing a lot of that I have to say I heard a lot about. And then I finally picked up and played it, and that's Scout. And I got to tell you, Scout is hitting the table at like rapid speed as well. It's up there as much as Spots at this point. So just credit to Scout, which was his Oink Games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Such a fun little game. It was from 2019. I don't know. I you look at that game on the table, it's numbers and colors and cards, but it's so much fun. It's just a great little design. So
You played
kudos
it?
to that game.
Yeah, I've played it a few times. I like it a lot.
I gotta play Scout.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna like it.
I think you would like it, but we'll give people a chance to consider calling in. But I will tell you, so just let me tell everybody what's on our review docket. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Ryan, but I believe we've got a few reviews here. We got Starship Captains, Dice Manor, Roll Camera, I believe we may be covering Trekking Through History. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Trekking Through History, Her Story, Gift of Tulips, Dara, and we are going to end the night with first impressions from something we did the other night that is coming up in a video next week, which is Cosmic Frog.
Find Muck.
Yes. And we're just, oh, yeah, Ian saying what, not Strike?
Oh, yeah, we
could
played
talk about
Strike over the weekend, too.
Yeah, we could talk about Strike. I didn't think about it.
We didn't fully play it. We played it with components from Spots and a Pyrex.
Okay.
It was half a Strike. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got a bunch of games here, and I know
That's awesome.
I take it you played Strike before?
No, but I know what the container really looks like. It's really funny that you played with Pyrex.
Yeah, well, it was funny because we were playing Spots, and he goes, "We could play Strike with these. We just need a ball, and it's got to clink, and the dice have to be able to come out." And so
it wasn't that easy. I brought in a bowl. Oh, this bowl's too big. Oh, this bowl's too small. Oh, it's got to be shorter. It's got to be wider. Oh, it can't be this material. It's the whole thing. Should have brought in my kitchen.
Well, I do want to thank everybody for joining. I see that we've got a packed house right now, based on our counter here. So if I did want to call in, call-board.com. This is a call-in show. We've been taking some calls throughout the night. We had moderator Chris, who just left us. That was a blast playing that
all night long.
That was so much fun.
I did my best to avoid that.
No, sorry.
No, I like it. I like it.
But if we don't have any calls at the moment, I'm going to say we can start jumping into.
Let's jump in and we can jump out whenever.
You
Yeah,
can always
somebody
jump out
comes in, we
if you
can
want to
always
call.
pause.
So please don't hesitate. But let's start with. I guess we'll start at the top of the list. One of the games we played this a while back was Starship Captains. I know a lot of people have talked about this game. This was a game.
This one Anthony hasn't played yet.
Yeah. So Anthony has not played this, I know, but you and I have, Ryan. I know a lot of people have been talking about it on Twitter and all these other places. It was a game people definitely were anticipating, I think it's fair to say. And we're able to have a review copy of that one that we were able to get that currently sits in the Tabletop Express library.
Yeah, CGE provided a review copy for us for Starship Captains. Starship Captains is from CGE. It came out last year. It is designed by Peter B. Hofgaard, and in this game, it is a game where you are basically doing pick up and deliver in a Star Trek kind of parody world. On your turn, you're going to be performing different actions with your workers, and your workers are going to be doing different types of actions based on what kind of worker it is. Is it a red one, a yellow one, a blue one? The real answer, by the way, Gabe, is Star Trek is better than Star Wars. Anyways, I guess I'm in the minority there. But Starship Captains is a game where it is very much a pick up and deliver style game where there are different planets that are out there represented by different cards. So you'll see these cards right over here. Yeah. So, and basically it's telling you what threshold you're going to, what kind of crew members you're going to send down on away missions to get there. And once you do, you're going to gain those specific benefits if you use the right kind. And that's pretty much how the game is going to go over a couple of rounds. You'll also be getting different workers, and you'll be sliding your workers through a pretty cool dual layer board, where it's got like a little kind of like a queue where you put in all your workers and you just slide them forward every turn.
That's cool.
So you slide them forward until you're only left with like the 3 out there. So at the end of the round, you'll be sliding them over. Because you see on this notch over here, that's where you're going to put your away mission card and your characters over here. You also have androids that are represented by like the goldish pieces, and they're workers as well too, but they don't have circle bases. They have hexagon bases, which is cool because when they slide over, they don't actually slide over. They get stuck. The red figures, do they always die on away missions? Sometimes. But on your turn, you're also going to be upgrading your ship and also be taking damage into your ship. And your damage is going to be going into your cargo bay area, which is going to be holding different aspects of your ship. That's pretty much everything there for Starship Captains.
Component wise, I just want to talk. I really do enjoy the component and the idea of just the ability to upgrade. And when you're putting them into that tray, you're putting them in order, in specific orders. That's important. The order you put them in is really important. The components themselves in this game and that board, quite frankly, was good. You do put it together. I see Danielle mentioning that as well. So you actually are putting that board together. I've never had to do that before. That was a new experience for me too, but it is nice overall.
It was like double.
It? Oh,
no, it was like little like circle double-sided tape.
Okay.
That you just kind of put on.
It was very easy. It did not take me very long to do. It was an extra task.
Yeah.
Right. You and I both played this. I know we've talked about this a little bit, but from a gameplay perspective, it's just not the pick up and deliver I'm jumping to. And so because this was ultimately a pick up and deliver game, and for me, it fell a little bit short of what I was hoping for. I think it's interesting thematically what they were going for. I think a lot of people are going to like this game because it is a pretty simple pick up and deliver, and the mechanic of upgrading and then putting these pieces in particular order and then getting access to the right pieces at the right time. That was interesting. That stood out to me. But overall, for me, this wasn't getting to the table over a lot of the other pick up and deliver games that I had. And I think it took a little hit for me because of that. It just, something didn't grasp me on this one. And I don't know. I've struggled a little bit with what it was. I'm going to be honest. Because
here's the one thing I'm highlighting this too. This is that card market area where you can take and add some upgrades to your ship, and when you add those upgrades to your ship, you'll get different benefits. But also, depending on you have like a tableau of 4 cards that you can kind of put those cards down, and based on if the symbols on the left and right of the card, if they match the card to the left or the right, like where they're touching and they're the same symbol, you're gonna get an extra bonus. Now, here's the thing. I really dislike this game. And here's why. It is a pick up and deliver game with very little to none player interaction. And it's on your turn. You're going to just be kind of just doing the same thing over and over again, where you're just going from one planet to the other. And when you get to that planet, you're guaranteed to land on that planet as the away mission, because whatever ship gets there first, other ships, when they get to it, they cannot go onto that planet because your ship was there first. So you can't take someone's ship from it, which is kind of like that alone. Like if they just kept it where you could take other people's planets, at least there would have been some interaction in there, but there's very little to none. And I feel like the turns are just very meaningless in this one. I did not enjoy my time with Starship Captains at all. I played it solo. I played it at 2 players. I haven't done it at 3, but I doubt it's going to change my mind.
I don't think it would change the gameplay. I don't think it would, because ultimately you're right. Like it does come down to, yes, that I can deal with I could deal with a lack of interaction if there was something more interesting drawing me in, but there wasn't. The thing that I go back and say I really enjoyed, and I'd like to see in other games, and I guess it's in some, is that idea of picking the order of where you're taking a piece and putting it into that cycle and where it's going to come out again. Like I really like that, but the actual pick up and deliver and all that, just it didn't execute for me. And to your point, there's a little bit of a lack of interaction that you would expect to me in a game like this. And generally most of games like this, I feel like with pick up and deliver, where you would be going and trying to compete to get to a planet, you would.
Right, because a lot of pick up and deliver games have that interaction where you're trying to go ahead and deliver something before someone else can.
Right.
And the only way to do that is you go to the planet and you're just hoarding that planet until someone else gets there. And it's not like you can really travel much. You're either going in a couple different directions per planet. Other games that do pick up and deliver that I do enjoy. Just so you guys know, obviously my favorite pick up and deliver is probably Age of Steam, but that's a train game, right? And that one's just fantastic for a lot of reasons. And with this game with Starship Captains, it doesn't have that Star Trek vibe. If I want a Star Trek vibe, I'm gonna go to Star Trek Frontiers, which is basically the Mage Knight reskin of Star Trek. If I want a sci-fi pickup, for sure, Zaya for sure is like the pick up and deliver space game. Granted, Zaya is also way long, and this game is about an hour long. Okay, and by way long I mean 2 to 3 hours. It could be longer though if you do solo, which is great. So anyways, I was really looking forward to it because I am a fan of the Star Trek franchise, and I am a fan of pick up and deliver, and I would not recommend this for fans of either. So,
and I will just say this: I'm going to agree with Ryan. My favorite pick up and deliver, probably if I was going to the sci-fi space, Firefly falls in for me. I love Firefly. I love it universe. And again, if this is meant to be kind of a Star Trek without IP type thing, fine. But ultimately, in the end, I just wanted more, and I didn't have it. But I've seen a lot of people who do love this. This one was not for me. I probably was more willing to play it again than you, but at the same time, I'm not in a rush to.
And again, the coolest mechanic was that that component thing, that toy factor where you're sliding the workers over. Other than that, though, I
that's why I talked about that so much. I really did actually love that particular piece, and that's what had me exciting.
Chris, do you like? Have you ever played Black Fleet? That's a pick up and deliver pirate game.
No,
that's got cool components
I'll
too.
change
you
that.
On a pirate ship.
Then. Yeah, let me.
There's like naval ships that everybody can control. So you're trying to go to different islands, and you're gonna get blasted off, but you're gonna respawn later, like at the end of the board. So you're never gonna lose.
Oh, I haven't tried that one. Yeah. I've done Merchants and Marauders, which is I love that one. That one's very pick up and deliver pirate, but it's also like heavy combat and in your face kind of game. Anyways, and I haven't done Star Wars Outer Rim. I know that I don't. It eats Firefly's lunch. Apparently,
that's second. Look, I really do love that one. Firefly, though, Outer Rim is like inching closer and closer now that I have the expansion. So I agree, Outer Rim is fantastic, but get the expansion. The expansion should have been in the game in the first place, in my opinion.
So my rating was a 4.5, by the way, 4.5 for Starship Captains.
My rating on this one was a 5.5.
Cool. Yeah, we're like in sync. Okay.
I'll give it a 3.5.
What? There you go. You had it.
No, I'm never going to play it now. I'm never going to play this game.
Well, it's over there in case you change your mind. You can.
And Squirrel saying he thinks that a pickup deliverer in your mind as I feel you have started in your mind as a pickup deliverer a lot more, but I never thought of it. But at the core, that's what you're
doing. What you're doing, though. You're for majority of the game, you're going from planet to planet and sending out your crew members out. That's effectively the pickup and deliveries. You're delivering your crew to.
In all fairness, for people, you could easily. It is a quicker game. You could teach it to people, but and I feel like if you don't need a core mechanic that is a heavy pickup, I guess to the point. Yeah, I guess it's not like as intense, but I don't know. It's pick up and deliver as far as I'm concerned.
What does BGG say under the mechanics for this game?
BGG says
pick up and deliver, doesn't it?
Mechanics. I don't see pick up and deliver.
Wow.
There's end game bonuses, open drafting, solo solitaire game, turn order progressive, variable setup, worker placement, different worker types.
It's very specific.
I don't know. Maybe and we again.
Oh, Horrified is a great pick up and deliver.
Oh, that's a great point.
That's a great point, Ian.
Thought about it that way.
And Western Legends.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Western Legends is, but isn't. It depends what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true. But Horrified for sure is a pick up and deliver.
Oh, Horrified is. Yeah.
And cooperative.
Well,
that's a good point.
The next one up, by the way, that we're going to review is a game that we all played, and that is a game we played at Anthony's house. That is Dice Manor. That was published by Arcane Wonders. Designer was Garrett Herter. Artist Damien. I want to make sure I don't butcher this. Mamaliti. Mameloti. But Dice Manor, Anthony, why don't you tell us a little bit about it? Because obviously you brought this to the table for us, and it was an interesting game to say the least.
No, I didn't.
No, he didn't. We
You
got it
just
as a
played at
review
my
copy.
house.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry. That's right. It was. I'm sorry. That was a copy that you brought, but we brought it to Anthony's house. So Ryan, you talk about it. Then.
Tell us.
Tell us
Anthony.
about this
Tell
game
us
that you
anyway,
did not.
Anthony.
Although it is at my house still, right?
It is still. That's I think.
Yeah,
what's
because
on
you
my
wanted
mind.
to try it.
Yeah.
It's still at your house. That's why
Yeah.
I think I was thinking about it
Yeah.
that way.
Okay. Good cover.
Gosh. All right. So I'm going to try my best to explain what happens in this game, but you're going to be basically setting up this mansion, sort of, or manor, I guess, over 4 rounds, and then the final round is you're giving this kind of like grand tour of the things. You're going to be buying these polyomino type rooms to attach to each other in this weird kind of bidding thing, right? So you're going to roll all your dice, group them by the same value, and then there's these tokens you can use to up or down them by 1 or whatever. So you want to try to make as many sets as you can, because essentially there's 3 positions that you're vying for, and whoever has the first go at it is going to be leading that lead position with whatever they have, even if it's just 2 twos or something like that.
Yeah.
And then someone trying to move them down the line a little bit by getting either a greater value or a larger set of dice, right? So 3 of a kind in this case. I don't remember what each of the 3 spots are that your dice end up on. One of them is to get blueprints, I believe.
So yeah, there's the advertising
advertising,
section
right.
in the middle, and that lets you move that upon that track where where the little house figure is,
Right,
to touch
to
the die.
potentially get more dice too, right?
Right, because whenever you touch a die with your house figure, you're going to get that die, and then
Right.
you'll have an additional die to roll in the game. Because you start out with 7, and then you'll go up to
Right.
9. Then you're also going to be placing these dice out for bidding on these different locations. You'll see there's a 4, 5, and 6 up here. There's a 1 over here. This is 2, and this is 3. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be bidding that die value on there. So when you roll all your dice, you're going to take all the dice that match a particular single value and place all those dice in a specific location. Right. Either the matching number, or for the blueprints one, whatever die value you want to use, you can put there. The third option is you can place your dice in your manor, which is this little tile set you have in front of you, and those dice are treated as guests that you're touring around your manor. And the more
Trying to string them together, basically.
right, because you can only move through different doors. So each tile has like a set of doors on them, and the doors must touch other doors that are going to be different tiles that you'll be winning from your bidding. And you'll be placing those dice throughout your manor as long as they match the number on there. And the more dice you place in one go, the more victory points you'll get. And that's how that works, basically.
It's an interesting game, though, because you do have to make sure that you get pieces every round. In one of our plays, ultimately what happened, I didn't get anything the first round. And it was a learning game, certainly in capacity of what it was, but kind of screwed me the rest of the way. But I found the mechanics of the game interesting, because from a perspective of trying to get down those tracks to get more dice, I really enjoyed that, because you had to think about where did you want to go. But you also think about the dice where, oh man, once I got this house set up, I need to start getting dice in the house. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of decision making that you had to make in this one. It was really interesting. I want to note, from a player count perspective, I enjoyed this at a high player count. I don't think I'd want to do this as a dueling game.
We played it at 4.
That makes sense.
And then, aside from playing with you guys, I played it at 3 and I played it at 2. Do not get this for 2 players. It is not good 2 players at all. Like, the game is broken. Like, it just doesn't work as a 2-player game. 3 is better because you want player interaction with the bidding. 4 is the best, and because again, it's an auction game. You want high numbers for these auction kind of games. Okay. So that's why, like, if you're gonna play this with 4 players, that this is the way, that's the way to do it.
Sure,
for
I
sure.
agree.
Yeah, and you're the only one who can speak to the other plays, because I didn't get to play this with the 2. It just gave me that sense of I wanted that interaction.
Yeah, there's no like variance either. Like, it's not like you're gonna be using multiple dice. There's no like 2-player variance
that are
it's
like
just
blocked off or something like that.
Yeah.
You can't pick.
Yeah, nothing like that was introduced with it, which I think is a big oversight, to be honest. The other thing to note is that as you go on up this advertising track, which is in that middle board, you are going to be getting more dice. And when you get more dice, you're going to be a much more powerful player because you have more options, more things to do throughout the game. But you could also, it's a thing where when you're rolling all your dice, you don't want to spend all your dice right away because every turn, everyone is bidding once. And the more dice you put out, the less turns you're going to have in the future. And the thing is, there's a clear advantage to spreading out and seeing where the dice placement is going. So if someone went in all in on something,
right,
then the rest of you could just kind of just play around that and take more things. And that player is effectively losing turns and also losing opportunities. Sorry, that's the criticism over there.
For sure.
The other thing to note, it is 4 rounds of this bidding system. We are going to be taking tiles and placing them. And then there's a 5th round where all you're doing is just touring people through the manor that you built.
So you're going to roll all your dice again, but only put them into your
and
manor.
you're only
anywhere.
Exactly. And the thing about that too is when you are putting them only into your manor, it's again going to take the players who had most of the tiles because they spread out their bids and have more tiles are going to do better than the others.
And I forget, can you still use the tokens to modify on the dice for that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, because you get.
So it's good to hoard those.
You can also get tokens to re-roll all your dice, or as many dice as you want. You could choose which ones you want to re-roll, or increase or decrease a pip. And it's Castle of Burgundy's rules where 6 becomes 1, 1 becomes 6.
Yeah.
No one should mock anyone for Barron Park. That's
Yeah.
top 20 for me.
Yeah. Good game.
No. If anyone's mocking for Barron Park, they don't listen to them.
Now, I do want to bring up component wise, the inset board was fine. I think the components are fine, right? But in terms of like an interesting auction game, I mean, especially look, I'm not gonna lie, especially after playing Raw and like the Grand Supreme auction game, right? Like, I would never go out to buy Dice Manor. Like, I don't see a reason to buy Dice Manor at all. Maybe if it's on sale, but even then, like, I don't like. I think the MSRP is $40. We got ours from a review copy. I would not recommend buying Dice Manor. It's just a game that is gonna be fleeting in plays for sure. There's not enough variety in there. You need high player counts. That's just my 2 cents on Dice Manor.
So what's your rating?
My rating, and here's the thing, I rated this because after playing multiple times, and as I play with higher player counts, I did enjoy it more.
Okay.
At 4 than anything, but it's still not an exciting game. I give it a 5.7, just because again, there's other games I'd rather be spending my time for. I don't believe Dice Manor is going to be one that people should be clamoring and trying out when there's so many other auction games out there.
Anthony, what's yours on that?
I mean, mine's definitely higher. For me, auctioning is not my favorite mechanic by any means, to be honest, and so this was just enough for me. So I kind of like that. I do like the components. Yeah, for sure. It's not going to get to the table with only 2 people. But I gave it a 6.8, actually.
Nice.
And we were really close because mine's a 6.9. It was a touch under 7 because I tend to go under the BGG rules, and 6 is okay. We'll play if in the mood. Okay, if in the mood. And this felt like a game that was more, was in that area and not necessarily good game. I'll always play it. So had to notch it a little bit below. But yeah, I'd say 6.9. But again, I would play this game at the 4-player count. If you came to me and said, hey, I got this, want to play 2 player, I'd be like, no, not interested. So I think my rating is very much reflective of that 4-player count, which to me is valuable.
Yeah, it's true. You gave it the nice rating. The nice rating. Sorry, at the end of the day, we're all still like 12-year-old. Which, no worries. Okay, what's next for review?
We're going to do a double feature of Underdog Games next.
Ooh, Underdog Games.
What does that mean?
So first, let's talk about trekking through history, and then we could talk her story.
Okay. Oh, I didn't mention, by the way, Dice Manor was published by Arcane Wonders, designed by Garrett Herter, and came out in 2023.
6.9.
It is a 6.9 in Board Game Geek. Look at that. All right. What trekking through history?
Trekking Through History. Now, Trekking Through History, Underdog Games, designers Charlie Bink, artist Eric Hibbler. Trekking Through History is an interesting game to me. Trekking History is a game where you are playing it over 3 rounds. First and foremost, 3 rounds. You are taking a 3-day tour of human history. And in this game, you're essentially going through a time machine to great moments in the past. It comes essentially with this playmat that you see there that is in the box, fits in the box. All the games from Underdog, actually, quite frankly, come with really beautiful inserts, and they're just very well done in that way from a components perspective. But each day you're visiting a series of historical events, and you're spending a different number of turns. You can see that clock kind of over in the corner of this visual, and every card that you pick up has resources on it, plus underneath, based on where the card is located. And one of the things that it costs in particular is time. Now, you're going to also be able to spend some of these cubes that you got. And what's really great about these time crystals is they allow you to make it so you haven't taken as much time. So you spend the time crystal. If the time was 3, you would only have to move 2 spaces. This game also has a certain piece to it where essentially you can get to go multiple turns in a row based on, are you on top of another person's piece? So it's got a little bit of that going on.
Like the patchwork style.
Yeah. Now, if you look at that art too, and if you actually flipped over some of these cards, what you would actually see is there's really interesting information about that historical event, a little bit of humor to it in some spaces. But ultimately, what we are trying to do is collect cards and collect really long trips, because if you look at that board on the right-hand side, you'll see the longer your trek is, essentially, the more victory points you're going to get. It's a really easy game to teach because everything is right there on the board. I have taught this to probably 3 or 4 people who some play games, some don't. Everyone's learned the game equally as easy. So I think that speaks a lot to it. But at a certain point, if the year, you can't play a year that's next chronologically, you will have to start a new trek. And now this could happen in the first round. That could not happen until the second round. All depends how you play. The one thing we should note is there's ancestor cards, which you can play, which are equivalent of you get a wild card, but ancestor cards only get you a wild card, a wild token, and a lot of these other these cards, I should say, have a lot more that you would get.
It's the meet your ancestors, right?
Yeah, meet your ancestors. Now, there's one other component piece to this game, which is your itinerary. And those pieces you're collecting are actually going on your itinerary. So if you could find a photo of one of the itineraries, it'd probably be helpful. But the itineraries are the other way you get victory points. And that's really critical because there's victory points on those itineraries. You could see it right there.
That's a shirt.
Yeah, if you scroll right up there. Yeah, there it is. So you can see as you fill those in, you start to get additional victory points or additional goods, wild tokens, etc. So that's the other way you're scoring points.
Right, because you're collecting these little tokens, placing them down in the matching color row. You get the benefit that you cover, but also if you have all the ones in that line, like you said, the 13, you're going to get 13 victory points as soon as you do a red, a blue, and a yellow in those lines.
I really like that part of the game. That was pretty different. That felt different for me anyway.
Yeah, now there's a question, how's it compared to its predecessors? I'm going to be honest, I haven't played all of them, but it's very different. If you just right off the top, it's a very different game. We've talked about that. We almost wouldn't call it, I mean, calling it Trekking Through History gives it the sense that you're going to get another game just like those, and it is very different than Trekking the National Park or all those other.
Yeah, I did Trekking the World before, and I dismissed this one because I really disliked Trekking the World.
Okay.
And I'm glad I actually got a chance to play it because it's a completely different game. It's just I guess, in that line of games. I haven't done trekking the national parks though. But with this game, it is what's cool too is that each round is a day, quote unquote, and it's going to show you what cards are available, so you can kind of anticipate what's going to come up, but you're not guaranteed that it's gonna be there. You know?
Yeah.
But in the end, what you're doing is just getting cards and placing them all in sequential order. That's really what you're doing. And then also, I guess, causing paradoxes by meeting your ancestors. Which, come on, like we know that's a faux pas in time travel, right? Right.
But honestly, I've played this at 2 players, 3 players, 4 players. I've enjoyed it every time. This is a high quality game to me from a gameplay
the
perspective.
components are outstanding.
Yeah. I just have enjoyed this every time I've played it. And I'm a big fan of this one. My score will reflect that when we get there. And I'll just say, when it comes down to it, I would play this with any of you, you know, like, and I just feel like it's not just easy to teach. It's fresh to me. And every game's a little different because the cards are going to come out in different orders. I agree.
Good amount of cards in this too, right?
Yeah, there were a good amount of cards.
There's a lot of cards. Yeah. I agree thematically. Maybe there's other things they could have done, maybe to give it a time travel vibe outside of the cards or something if they wanted. But in the end, doesn't bug me. I think ultimately the cards and the history do enough to hit it for me. So yeah, this one is a win for me.
They almost didn't have to make that part time travel ish, right?
Which part?
Like
the game?
As the game, like.
Oh yeah, it
could have easily just been going like walking like through a museum or something, and like
it doesn't come across as time travel.
No, it doesn't have that feel to it. But it
was
definitely.
You could have come you would have to come up with just an alternate, reason for the time crystal. That's the only difference. That's the mechanic that connects. But yeah, just throw that out the window. This game is still a really enjoyable game for me. Yeah. And so yeah, I like this a lot, and I could tell you guys, I rated this an 8.3. Like, I really liked it. It is a game that I, quite frankly, would just play with anyone. And I think there's a lot there. It's not going to hit the table, as much as all the games in my collection, but it's going to get a few plays a year. And so, yeah, 8.3 for me.
I thought it was fine. I gave it a 7.3. And here's why. I thought it was fine for what it is. It definitely has you kind of pushing your luck with trying to guess if that card is going to come out. I like that aspect where there is some interaction with, oh, you took the card I wanted.
Yeah.
I like that aspect for sure. It does go a little long, I feel like, for what it is.
Fair. That's fair.
But the component quality is great. I guess like other games that kind of do this thing where you're trying to put things in sequential order, like Timeline.
I was going to say this is like definitely a step up from Timeline,
right?
But it's also a very, like you said, it's a very approachable game.
But Timeline is more focused, right? Timeline is more focused on the whole thing. Is you're trying to guess, is this before or after the time that it happened, right? Whereas this one, it's just you're collecting the cards and you're just learning the history. It's not like you have to know the history. You're just learning the history.
You're not bringing any outside knowledge to the table in this game.
Right.
Or that benefits you in any way.
Yeah. But the components are nice, and I do like the whole placement of kind of you have your recipe card and you're trying to fulfill it.
Yeah. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Recipe card.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm closer to you than Chris, but I did enjoy it. I'm at a 7.5 for this.
There you go.
So good range there. So yeah, that was trekking through history.
Some in the chat, I saw that Ian was saying that there's a real missed opportunity to leverage a very unique theme. Yeah, that he feels the costs and benefits are tacked on arbitrary and don't support the event. That's true. Yeah, because it's really not.
Symbols.
It's just like there's a trivia. I don't know what these symbols are. That's like I want red because I want yellow. I want blue because I want to get these in here. Thematic integration is definitely not this game's strong suit.
But we do have another game from them, another review copy. That was Her Story. which is a game about writing a book to tell the stories of remarkable women in history.
Oh, Underdog Games is the publisher.
It's
I
the
thought you were
publisher.
just making like a comment.
I thought so too.
About like you know
No, the
underdog
publisher.
titles. I had no idea that was a publisher.
Yeah.
Now I do.
This
pull up
one,
her story.
look, it's really easy to talk about this one because this one is another approachable game.
Who designed it? You have the list.
Yeah, I got the list. We got Nick Bentley, we got Emerson Matsuchi, and then we got Daniel Reynolds on this one.
Cool.
And then artist Eunice Adelaide, and then Christina Aguirre. So this one is one where you are building essentially a book to tell the stories of these women in history, and the way you're collecting the cards is very Splendor-like. I mean, is there really?
No, it is.
I mean, it's like education Splendor.
Yeah.
I is the way I feel like we kept describing it. It's education Splendor, and it works. It's a beautiful game from a production perspective. The gameplay is certainly welcoming in that way, but is the Splendor is the first game I thought of when I got to play this.
And the role is you are taking on the role of a biographer,
Right.
writing a biography, and these are all the different women from history that you're using, the different pages you're adding to your biography. The goal is to have a completed book by the end, and then at the end, no joke, everyone takes turns flipping over their book, and on the back are historical facts, and you kind of go through your own history, you say it out loud. Thematic, like, that works.
Everything, yeah.
That works great. I love the theme, like, for sure.
Great teaching tool.
It is.
For sure.
Now here's the thing, education Splendor, the thing about it is that yes, it does feel like education Splendor, but think about going to school. Like, I've had education games, and some education games feel like education games. Okay, and here's the thing, I love the theme of this. Okay, I'm giving this game, by the way, a 6.5. Okay, because I love the theme of this. For sure. I love the theme. I love the aesthetic of this. This game goes a little too long for what it's actually doing, though, because you are doing those 8 cards, and every card needs its recipe fulfilled. It's gonna need different resources to purchase, and most of them are in the 5 to 6 range. You'll notice those chits over there are gonna have a combination of different resources, and you really want to go for the resources that are gonna allow you to buy something. But at the same time, you're not gonna get that because that's just not how it's gonna go. And it's a lot of time of focusing on getting your resources, and then I get the card. And like, a lot of my time was focused on that when it came down to actually the kind of part I was looking forward to, which is flipping over to the biography, I kind of got bored because I went so long through this board game to actually get to that point.
Can you just play it less? Can you just play like less?
You probably
cards?
could.
Like play 5
yeah, like
cards
5 cards or 4 cards. Yeah, I think you probably could. I mean, granted, there are some cards that are to give you benefits at the end of the game if you have a number of certain cards, because you see some of them are special powers on there, some of them are scoring conditions, some of them are special powers that go throughout the game. So you want to have some of those special powers that go throughout the game to make your turns a bit more effective. You could also reserve a card, just like Splendor. You reserve a card so someone can purchase it too. Or you're just taking some benefits. But I really wanted to love it, and I think I'm sorry, I clicked the camel. But here's the great thing. Here's the great thing about this game. Proceeds of this game are going to charity, which I think is fantastic. And Barros, tell them what we did with our review copy.
Well, first and foremost, I want to point out with both of these games, I think the one we talked about previously and this, they really do a great job in terms of hitting in that educational market. And to that point, what we did, this game went to the local library.
Yeah.
And it is a great game for that. And I think it's got a really great place in a library, in a school. It's talking about really important women in history. And I think it's an important game. If I was going to take a game to the table that I wanted a little bit more out of to teach something about women's history, and the profound things that we need to know about, Votes for Women is the game I'm taking out, which is also at the library because I had them order it. So bottom line, I think this game has an incredible importance. I gave it a 7, just so everybody knows it's a 7. I think it's a solid game. I agree it goes probably a little too long, but I think it's solid. It's going to work for a ton of people. We're calling it Education Splendor, but if someone's never played Splendor, quite frankly, they're going to pick up this game, be able to play it, and I think they're going to enjoy it very possibly, because not everyone who plays a game may be a gamer.
Yeah.
And that's the point that I want to make with this. And that's why I gave it a 7, because I think it does what it's meant to do really well. And I think it's an important game. So, yeah, this was a 7 for me. But, yeah, it's at the library.
And I think that's a great place for it, too. I mean, a lot of libraries are starting to have board game collections. And you have a board game like this that's right there in front of you.
Yeah.
I think the art's super compelling, right? The theme is something that, if you are interested in that theme, there's plenty in there. There's plenty in there for you, because there's tons and tons of cards with all biography info and like fun facts. And I think that part is fantastic. As a game, though, it's just all right.
That's fair.
Yeah. And that was Her Story. Both Underdog games gave us Her Story and Trekking the World Trekking Through History as a review copy.
Sweet.
Yeah. Now, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm going to put a forewarning on our next one, because unfortunately, I know that this next one we had a lot of different feelings about. But we were able to get a copy of the game that I was excited about. I was really excited about this game.
Okay.
We had a Ding and Dent review copy of Roll Camera, the filmmaking board game. And
All three of us did this one.
I want to start by saying this. This game was clearly a passion project. You could feel it in every moment of the game for me, that this was designed with love and passion. And I knew that going in, and it has, in my opinion, probably the single best publisher made or individual designer made how to play video that I have ever seen.
Yeah.
The game itself is a game where you're rolling dice and placing them to cooperatively produce a hit or so bad it's a good movie. And that
we did. We did.
Yes.
We made a flop.
We made a flop in our game. But let me just tell you, I honestly, after playing it, there's a lot of different actions in this game that we have to take. And it was a challenge, this game. As a co-op game, it was tough. The question is, was it too tough? And that's kind of, I'd like you maybe to get a little into the gameplay, Ryan, from your perspective, because that's where I was going when I was thinking, was it too hard?
So, thematic. Let me talk about a little brief thing. I went to school for film, an idea of maybe I could work on movies. I hated working on movies. When I got to actually start working on movies, it was the worst thing. Everyone just was spitting on you. Hours are crazy. Pay is cheap. It's awful. Roll Camera. Roll Camera is a game where you get to make movies. On your turn, you are going to be basically presented a problem, okay? And every round, there's a new problem. Something's going on that is going to be a negative benefit for the entirety of the round. And I start with that because every single round that happens. On your turn, you're going to be trying to finish your film. You're going to be starting with storyboard cards, okay? Which, when you complete the storyboard card, based on the different scenes you put out, which are in that middle 5x5 grid, once you shoot those scenes, you're going to flip over the storyboard card into its completed side and put it into your film. So it's like a drawn side of the storyboard, and then the same image on the other side is, great.
A better looking version.
A better looking version, right. And these different scenes that you're putting out are going to be different kinds of scenes, like comedy, drama, action, romance, okay? And on your turn, you're going to choose how many dice you want to roll out of the 6. Because, and I say choose because very first turn you roll all 6, no problem. And then you just allocate them however you see fit for your worker placement spots, because it is effectively like a worker placement with dice. But the thing, it's not really, I mean, it's like you lock in the dice, because now it's going to go to your turn. And then another problem comes out. And if we didn't address the first one, then that one just comes out.
But there's only dice that come back to the next person are the ones that are not using.
No, you could take,
the
well,
set, right?
there's 6 in total, right?
Yeah,
There's 6 dice in total, and you can choose to take the ones that are locked that haven't been used yet, because because the thing is, you could set dice there, like, oh, I have 2 of the 3 requirements for this scene, so I'm going to put 2 of the 3 out there. Now it's your turn. So you can either choose to roll the remaining dice, which there are 4, or you could take some of the set ones, which it doesn't sound like a lot. And honestly, it doesn't feel like it's a lot, because a lot of times you're limited to the number of dice you can actually roll. And it does a great job of recreating the frustrations of film production, in my opinion. So as the game goes on, problems are going to happen, and you're trying to achieve this goal. And the thing is, certain problems you just are going to have to be okay with and live with.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't solve everything.
You can't solve everything.
And sometimes you have to play them to your favor. Like, we played one to our favor and went for the worst possible move.
It just so happened that that's how we.
But does something happen when you solve X amount of problems, like 5 problems or something? You get like a
right. Whenever you solve 5 problems, you get increased time, because So that's actually pretty cool, by the way. On your turn, you're also spending different currencies. You're spending time and money, and if the time reaches 0 or the budget reaches 0, the game's over. That's it. The production is halted and stopped. Yep. Right. So you're trying to increase that time, but everything you're doing is spending time and spending money, because it's a movie production. Of course, that makes sense. So you have a little counter that does that, which is in this far right corner. You can see that guy right over here. Then also, everyone has a different role, which has their own special worker placement spots just for them. And there's tons of these different spots. But again, you're limited to 6 dice throughout the entirety of it all.
And you don't get more dice.
You don't get more dice.
I can't believe that one of the special player abilities is not an extra die or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where my big crux with this game, because I love the different abilities, like the director can do this, or it just, to me, that was fun. But then, and then when it came down to it, like, the intern was almost a pain to use, which made sense. But at the same time, I then was finding myself, where do I put these dice? Yeah. It was a tough game. We won. And as I looked this up, because I looked this up after, a lot of people I was finding had the same thing, where to get a masterpiece, to get it above the line was really hard. Most people I find were winning in the same way, but we won. Mm-hmm. And I started questioning, well, what is that? Is that the most logical way to win? Is that the real strategy? I don't claim to have all the answers. My frustration comes back down to that lack of ability to pull a different dice, or like 2 more dice. If the intern pace, which was harder, gave you something negative, but you be able to pull 2 or 3 extra dice somehow, something to give you a little bit more, I think it would have played a little, I don't even mean friendlier, but mechanically it just would have felt more sound for me. That was my problem. Mechanically, it felt like something was missing, but again, I also felt like kind of a love that got put into it to make it kind of approach the challenges of filming a movie, the problems you're going to have. But I think I said, I wish the problems didn't come out every turn, like it was every other, because at a certain point, like, you couldn't address the problems, quite frankly, at all times. And because you needed to put your dice somewhere, and that felt constant. It felt like constant pressure, which ultimately, I'm not talking about pressure in a fun way. That was my problem.
Yep, I agree. Just, I don't know. It felt like a cooperative spatial puzzle. Like, I think I was too focused on shooting the scene, on the set design part in the middle.
Makes sense.
Which you have to do.
Yeah,
you have to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I don't really enjoy cooperative spatial puzzle experiences. I just, I don't know. It didn't feel like a cooperative game to me. And the only other interaction really is you can call a production meeting and get a few cards that do good stuff for you, but you don't even know like who calls the production meeting. Do you want to give that person one of your kind of crappy cards that they're going to discard because you discard one, you do one immediately, and then you save one for like an idea for later, right? So it's kind of like, well, I could have given you this card in hopes that you were going to use it because I think there's a good way to use it, and you discard it. It's like, all right, I didn't even get to like plead my case for that kind of decision making. So I don't know, it didn't feel. There's so many great cooperative games. This one just didn't feel like a great cooperative game. Production is pretty cool. I like the artwork. Honestly, little characters are fine, but I didn't find the player abilities to be all that wonderful. I feel like I don't even know if I used mine.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I actually played this game again with Eric when I surprised him earlier. I was telling you about that, and he wanted to get to the table, and I was like, I'll play it again because I give something a second chance. And again, we won. We won by making the flop because it's really hard to get that track all the way up there. You just run out of time and money so fast. So yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. This is a 6.0 for me.
Yeah, I mean, going back to it, you can tell that there was a lot of like heart in it, but at the end of the day, as a game, it's not working.
Yeah.
So I gave it a 4 or 5 because I would not recommend people get this game.
Yeah, I gave this a 5. I wanted to love it. I'm wondering with the expansion that's coming out, if it's done anything to mitigate some of the things that I didn't enjoy as much, because I really did want to love this, and I would give it a shot again and try it with the expansion and see what that does. But to me, it needed another way to get more dice out. It needed to be something more in that department. And I'm not saying make it easy by any means. I just want to be very clear. I don't necessarily I like Robinson Crusoe. All right.
Right, but
I
there's
don't
many ways
want easy.
There's many ways usually to change difficulty on these types of games.
Yeah.
And this one there really isn't.
That would have been interesting, almost like a family mode. Because I wouldn't introduce this as a co-op mode to anyone. It just wouldn't feel like it would work for me. But again, this was a real passion project. Yeah. I really could feel that, but unfortunately did not work for me. I wanted to bring up one we've been playing on BGA.
Can we save that for next video?
Can we save it for next video? Yes.
Because I actually want to. I want to play that one in person.
Okay, so we'll play that one in person. We're going to cut that one. You don't know what it is. Someone knows what it is.
I hope so.
Do we want to, because we could save some of these. Do we want to go and talk about our preview? Because we're approaching the 3 o'clock hour, the 3 hour mark.
Sure.
So if we want to jump to our preview that we discussed.
Yeah. Okay. So next week we have 2 videos, right? Two videos. The first video on Tuesday, we're going to be doing a Creators Corner with Dave Beck, who designed Distilled, right? But the following day, we're doing a live playthrough of the brand new expansion of Cosmic Frog called Cosmic Frog Find Muck. It's so mucky. I'm bringing it again. Look at that muck. Okay, I found muck. It's on the screen. Barros, we played this over the weekend, and it was a good time.
So I don't want to muck around on this one.
Oh boy!
No, I really like this.
In the chat.
I really enjoyed the additions in this one. We'll talk more about it in a full review at a future point. But the additions to this one are quite interesting. They do a few things that this game does a few things that stands out to me. It gives you new ability cards, for one. The ability cards are pretty game changing. Some are more powerful. You had some new ones in, and that was a lot of fun for me to see all the new abilities. We did try to get, I feel like, as many of them to the table as possible to experience them.
Yeah.
It also adds a value to when you get your butt kicked that you could find muck, which is valuable for the point scoring factor in this game, because when you swallow that down your gullet and then it back up, those essentially become wilds. So it adds a few layers there. And I don't know, for me, this was a fun game. This takes a wild game and makes it even more wild, and it does it well. So for me, I will say you don't need a review, quite frankly, for me to tell you that if you like Cosmic Frog, you're going to probably want this.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's fair to say. And certainly we'll dig deeper into the game itself through our playthrough and then a final review. But I feel like because we have access to this copy and we got a chance to do it, I was just excited by that. But the gameplay itself, honestly, was just solid. And it made me excited to play it again for everybody to see. Because I feel like it was fun. It was just fun.
Okay, so find muck. Do you find something between the layers? What you find is amazingness. Okay, Cosmic Frog Find Muck is taking Cosmic Frog to that level that I want Cosmic Frog to go to. When I say, do you want to play a game with 2 Mile Frogs where we get to stomp and just rip my tongue right through your mouth and just disgorge all this land tiles and put it into my belly just so I can go and leap out into the ether and disgorge it all into my own vault to score points? Yes. I loved this so much. Now the thing is, the combat, I heard this today. The combat, the chip system, was actually the original combat system for Cosmic Frog. And it went to a dice system when cutting components. So this is kind of like the director's cut of Cosmic Frog.
Interesting.
Let me just say,
yes, for sure.
Let me just say this, because I remember we're sitting around the table as we're talking about this. And we're looking at chips. I wonder if this is going to work. Like, we weren't sure. And that's the big thing I can give away from a perspective is I'm glad they went to this chip system, because the chip system just adds this metagame. It's fun. And that's something you should be excited about, going from the base with the dice to the chip system. And it is such a great addition. And I think
it's such a blast. And you're right. When I do get my my muck handed to me and enjoy it, like that, like I have no hard feelings about Cosmic Frog, because you can't have hard feelings about Cosmic Frog. It's Cosmic Frog. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild. Everything's going to go all over the place. And Find Muck just takes that, brings it up to 11, for sure. This is the Brings It Up to 11 expansion. Yeah. Okay? So if you love Cosmic Frog and want it to go to the next level, you should totally check this out. We're going to be doing the playthrough next week. Well, I'll explain the rules for the Muck Lands, which are effectively wild lands. The chip combat system, as well as the mental powers, which is even cooler, because that makes so you don't need to be next to each other. I could be like I could go to Barros right now because I see him in my vision and he's in a different room, but I could use my mental powers to make him what's the term? I forget, but you're basically just puking out all the land tiles that I shoot at you.
Purging?
And then I'm catching them in my mouth.
Not purging.
Purging, isn't it?
Is it purging?
I think it's purging. You're gonna purge them out. Yeah.
There's a bunch
and then
of
I can snatch them up if they fly over me.
It sounds like a deleted scene from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, it very much feels like it. Like, Cosmic Frog is the board game that looks like it's in the back of a Spencer's store, and it looks like that. Like, I forget, maybe it was Space Fifth that said it. It looks like the side of a psychedelic truck, and like absolutely. Absolutely. Like, that is Cosmic Frog. Cosmic Frog is that game when popular media wants to show how weird and complicated board games can be. And you're like, this sounds ridiculous. But, if you want to play that ridiculous game, this is it. And this, again, takes it to 11 expansion. So,
does that complete the game for you then?
Do
you need another expansion, do you think?
I will always say more Cosmic Frog is better. Because the thing is, because there's ability cards and stuff. But anyways, I will say this. After every time I play Cosmic Frog, I like it more.
Okay.
And with the expansion, that's grown even more.
Awesome.
So who knows what my top 20 will be like next year.
And Cosmic Frog is not a game in my top 20 by any means, but I enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something different. And I really enjoyed this. I thought this added a lot of value. So I'm going to encourage everybody, make sure you watch the playthrough. We're going to show you all the new goodies, all the new stuff, the chips, the new abilities, the mental attacks. It's different and it's fun. And I will say there's no reason to not play with this version once it's out. Add it, but we'll give ultimately, I know, a final review on this one, because this is gonna.
It's a great pickup and deliver too. Come on.
Oh man.
I guess because I
Kind of sounds like you're delivering
you are
vomit.
you are
You're
really
vomiting
are.
it into
You're
area
taking the
control.
tiles.
Well, not area control,
Pick
but
up and purge.
It is. Yeah, pick up and purge. Yeah,
pick up and purge.
Exactly.
That's fair. That's
But what's
fair.
great is you could steal the other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so cool, man.
We had a ton of fun. We're not going to give it all away. We want you to come back and see just how much fun that we had with this. Pick up and disgorge. Oh, that's
pick
a good
up and
one.
disgorge.
Yeah. But on that note, if there are games you'd like to see us talk about or play, obviously we will always try. We'll try to get a hold of things to get them. The games that we talked about tonight, for the most part, as we noted, were review copies. So we will always note that, just as heads up. If we have a review copy, we will tell you it's a review copy. That is very important to us. And Starship Captains and a bunch of other ones were review copies. Hopefully we've helped you a little bit along the way, and think about, you might have an interest in something, but if there's a game you'd like to hear us talk about, feel free to tell us.
Well, Squirrel saying no one's talked about Darwin's Journey.
Well,
That's because it took forever just to put the box insert together. Man, there's so many pieces.
It looks, Darwin's Journey looks great, and
It's pretty good.
I could say it looks great. That's
It's
all
in
I
the
can
eights
say.
for me. And it's only after one play, to be honest.
Yeah, but we'll Darwin's Journey will come up on a future episode. Encourage people to join the Discord if you're interested in being a part of our community. There it is. Work on the insert. Join our Discord if you're interested in being part of a community. We do also have a Patreon. Feel free to check that out. If you look up Tabletop Express Patreon, it's in our YouTube link. We've got some really neat stuff that we do with that. And you get a special channel and all these other things. So yeah, go check that out too. Ryan, Anthony, anything else on our list other than just being excited for 2 great videos next week?
No, I don't think so. But you both should play Distilled before that video, I think, if you can. I think you both would enjoy that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but before next, we need to review that one. So I need to play that.
Yeah.
For
All
sure.
right. With that, cueing in the music. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.